Welcome back, guys, to FACEIT TV for our coverage of the Counter-Strike Forever event at the Meltdown esports bar live in London. We have cArn and Thorin on site to bring you the next match. Will be Exosana Dragons versus fnatic. So, guys, take it away.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for staying up for us here. We are, of course, at the Meltdown esports over in London, and if you by any means are in the surroundings, join us. We're going to be open until like 3 or 4, 5 a.m. God knows how long this esports party going to continue. Speaking about party, we do have fnatic against Astana coming up. Map 1 is going to be Inferno. Kind of a different matchup from what we saw before earlier when we saw NIP more or less crushing Infused in 2 straight maps. First and foremost, predictions, Astana, fnatic. Astana's map Inferno is the starter.
I mean, I have to say fnatic are going to win, because what's funny is before DreamHack, a lot of us still thought Astana was like their 3rd best team.
For the longest period of time.
Yeah, I mean, they were one of the only teams who could beat, Very Games and NIP, and maybe even at the same event. And so they always seemed like they had the potential to even break in the top 2. But
True.
They've done really terribly since DreamHack. Meanwhile, fnatic have risen up. And I think, even though fnatic lost at the Invitational, I think most people now think of fnatic as the 3rd best team. So they're like 3rd, 4th. So I'd say at the moment, fnatic, Forbes better, which is probably a better team overall. Astana are the team that I really want to see, because we haven't seen much of them. They did terribly at that Star Series tournament where I thought they were going to win the whole tournament because there was nobody good there, you know. They came 4th place. They lost to Game Pub Mix.
I'm trying to recall how great they did at ESWC. Was that the bronze or?
They came 3rd, yeah.
They came 3rd.
But the problem
they won against NIP, I believe.
Yeah, but that was the 3rd place game though. And
which
the problem
NIP
is,
cared less about than
I think
Astana
everyone
did.
cares less in that sort of a 3rd place game where you're not in the tournament anymore.
Yeah.
We always see weird results.
It's not DreamHack, you don't play a bronze game.
And plus, that was the tournament where, because they got to the semis, you thought they were going to beat clan Mystic and come 2nd or 1st, So that was another slip down the road. And what's funny is that was the result that made them cut Edward and bring in Kusha. But then they've done even worse with Kusha. So I'm not really sure what to say about that. But I think they're not at the level we used to think they were.
Find an organization to represent as well, and that must obviously hurt their preparations a lot in terms of having salary, bootcamp location, and also the ability to go to more tournaments. Because that is something you need, You cannot just have a fresh lineup and go to the first tournament and expect yourself to win. I mean, I was able to do it with fnatic, but I'm a genius, right? But these guys, they haven't played it on
How did it work out after that?
On and off, and the top 3 in that year. I'm sure you're not agree. We did, however, see a knife round going into the favor of Astana, who are, of course, represented by a mix of Russian players, Ukrainian players, and a Kazakh player in Adrian, who I think is also playing from Kazakhstan. So his ping time is peaking at 110 at this point. But the word on the street, used to that, to be fair. Yeah, the word on the street, talking to my players, he's actually quite good with these kind of, this kind of ping. Pistol round is happening. Quick B, rush is coming up from fnatic. Taking over banana, and the players reloading here behind. Deadwalk taking the 2nd frag. 2 headshots. Bomb spot B is penetrated, and the bomb is going down. And he's 2nd. 3, 2, 1. And there we have 35 seconds on the clock. The pool is smoked, and looking at the overview, we see that the Astana players are rotating CD base. It's going to be a very, very tough retake for them, considering the fnatic players having 100 health each, more or less. They're not really gaining any momentum with flashbangs. Instead, they are finding themselves in a pickle here on the side holes. And goes down to, the fnatic players remaining. Devilwalk with 4 huge frags. Great start from fnatic.
And it's worth pointing out as well that actually, if Astana's going to win this series, they have to win Inferno, because it's by far their best map since the post-Edward era. And so I would say they have to win this one. They've actually won loads and loads. They have over 70% win rate on it. Yeah. Whereas on the other maps, they don't really have that good a rating, and they haven't played the others as many.
And
so
that's
this is their favorite map as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that kind of Inferno era started with Edic being a very good in-game leader for Moscow 5 at one point. I think they were at, if I recall it accordingly, they were the best team on Inferno, 2011,
they were very good.
2012.
I mean, the thing about their team was, since they were so aggressive, then if you remember what made them famous on Tuscan, Tuscan was a very T-sided map. So, on T-side, they were owning you. But then on CT side, they were the most aggressive team. And so they would even beat you on CT rounds. So it was the same on Inferno. On Inferno, we've talked before about how you should rotate and gamble and stuff. Well, another thing you can do if you're really good is just push up aggressively at CT. It's hard to do because you can give the whole round away. But if you're really good at it, it totally throws the team off. They can't get into the beginning of their round. you just throw them off completely. I mean, that was one of the things that MTW, who used to be legendary, the 2008 team on Inferno, your team went 2009. That's one of the things that kind of like fucked them up, was like when you would aggressively push up a CT, then they couldn't even get into the base around, you know.
Yeah.
And they threw them off completely for like 6 months or something before they switched players. Pretty standard round there for Fnatic. That's why I was talking over it, because
definitely you have to live with that, people at home. We love to speak about Counter-Strike, and sometimes we divert.
We're not going to do eco rounds
whatever direction.
unless you start winning them.
It should be a bit like the Casters ESL, going really crazy on the knife round. What do you think about that?
1, 2, 3. He gets the fourth.
So amazing.
Will it be a lovely ace? Oh, beautiful round there.
I tell you what, Dang, it would be more fun to like commentate people here in the bar at the knife round when they walk around and they're sipping the Fnatic drinks and the Fosters I think they're having on draft. But either way, third round is coming up. We're having another eco, of course, from Kusher and company.
Fnatic players have a couple of guns though, so let's see what they can do with them.
Yes.
Let's see where Markelov and Angel are, who do have the semis.
Chilling in the smoke. Look at the overview is what you call it. See, the bomb is actually placed kind of in between the two bomb spots. I don't really like this decision from Fnatic, considering it's only 2 guys protecting the bomb, and that can easily escalate when you're playing CSGO. When the pistols are so damn powerful. You're seeing here, and you're getting an amazing kill on Flasha. I think the group should basically have the bomb in this game, not put it in a safe spot, similar to what you did in CS 1.6. Relatively tight round so far.
It's extremely difficult to win this round, but they've already killed so many. I don't think it really even matters if you're Astana players. I'm just going to call them Astana since they're like ASD or whatever. It's easier to just say Astana. I mean, what's interesting is part of the reason why the Astana players got so many kills there is because one thing that does make this an interesting matchup, I think Fnatic are a better team, but I still think that the Astana players have more skill overall, man for man. Because almost every player on their team is like an aim star in a way, okay? Like, maybe Angel isn't, because I never thought of him that way.
Yeah.
But okay, Adren isn't a superstar in CSGO, but he was amazing in 1.6. The rest of them, very good as well. Like Dosia and Markov, obviously, even in CSGO, amazing aimers. But it does make them dangerous even on the eco rounds.
Would you kind of put Markelov on the same shelf as people like Neo when it comes to a not as successful transition into CSGO?
I think he had a better transition. His problem is he went from being like a top 3 player to being like the 8th best player or something. So now he can't have that big an impact on the end. And you see, he doesn't AWP that much. It's not that useful when he AWPs. So anyway, we're in a 1v3 here. But again, Angel, last man left.
Yeah, and
we should just save his gun in this particular situation.
Fnatic is not taking anything for granted, waiting out the clock. Whereas I think Angel is hesitating a bit, eventually going down to Flasha. Kind of a sloppy play from Angel.
There was no reason to lose the gun at that point, so not really sure.
Best case scenario, he managed to get 2 kills. Of course, the third remaining, the only Fnatic player remaining, he would be like hiding somewhere. The clock is ticking, the bomb is going off. No chance in winning that round.
He may be worried that because there's 3 that they'd have rushed him down if he'd hidden anyway, so it's not as bad as if there was like a 2v1 or something.
Yeah. Forcing Angel and his team
but you see again that Astana players do the classic Russian thing of like, even on ecos, they're buying weapons. They're not just going with the pistols. But like those classic Russian teams and like those Poles, they're so good with the guns. They're like extra odd. Like it's a bit like when we're talking about the very games like anti-eco wins. Like, you shouldn't be able to win as often as they do, but they are so good with the aim. At the moment, they're getting nothing on this round, though. So.
Right. Unlucky you, but I agree with you, definitely. But can we kind of try to figure out why they're good at these pistols?
Well, partly it's because they do it all the time.
They do it all the time, right?
That's the other reason. If you give Forrest like a deagle on a save, he doesn't do that, you know.
I think about players in Sweden, like the Matrix player, they were like legendary for the deagles, because every time they got an eco round, they felt like they lost the pistol round, they felt like we're so good anyway, we're going to buy deagles. Megaton, Suffer, Digital is a Finnish player, but I always bought deagles and were remarkably famous for the execution with the deagles. I do think we have a weapon round coming in, 5-0 in favor of Fnatic here from the Meltdown esports bar in London, playing obviously in the Counter-Strike Forever London event, where Astana and NIP are tuning in online. But ping-wise, even that Adrian is on 100 ping, it's a fairly even battle when it comes to the latency. And we've seen Pronex leading his team to a mid-push here. So flashes over short. Entry frag from Snyder long on Kusher. Nice frag from him. Forgetting to smoke off the connector here. That's a that's a mistake from Fnatic, obviously. And some kind of hesitation here from Fnatic. You see the bomb on the overview here is placed and moving towards bomb spot B. Ainey needs to get at least 2 kills here now, otherwise the bomb is going to get planted.
Yeah, and you can see Astana now is in position to win the first round.
Pronax, though, if he can't get this kill, it's going to be very tough for the B player here to hold off the
And Pronax gets taken down as well, so it's looking almost certain Astana clean this one up.
Snyder, famous for his aim, it's going to be still hard to kill off the 4 remaining Astana players. So most likely, Duncan, we're going to see Astana getting the first round, a very important one. T is obviously not favored on Inferno. And to comment further on this round, Snyder, if you get a few more exit kills, that would be amazing for the economy of Fnatic. 10 seconds to go. Snyder still is trying to just kite with his HP. Getting Angel. Aiden finishing off with his pistol. So 5-1 favor of Fnatic. Astana getting the first important round. But looking quickly at the money situation, they're still in a good position here. Losing this would be a disaster for them, and then we're going to see Fnatic leapfrog away to maybe 9, 10, 11 rounds easily. And kind of the approach I would like to see from Pronax now, knowing that the opponent, they don't have too many rifles. They do have AWP.
You can see, look at Kusha aggressively pushing up with the AWP here.
Getting that frag on Devilwalk.
And then you see it was a coordinated attack there. It worked very well done because it's not very unlikely there'll be a man there, so they try to rush up and kill the AWP, but then they don't get there in time because Dosi was already waiting. Yeah, it's looking very good for Astana right now.
Right.
It's got almost a clean sweep at the moment.
It's very easy for me sitting with the facts here, but I was about to suggest that Pronax should tell his guys to just chill down, identify where is AWP, utilize the grenades, the grenade favor they had, the amount of grenades they have compared to Astana, and do like a late B push or A split, for example. But now they enable...
From your history playing the Russian teams or Eastern European teams, you want to feel them out. You don't just want to like rush in, because like that, there'll be people pushed up. And so say you lose that first guy, if you've played back a bit more, now you can just rotate everyone to B, or you can go all to that one position. Whereas at the moment, if you do it this way, where it looked like he just did a standard like base strategy like Pronax does, and then he calls something from that.
Well,
like,
it was a base strategy, but it was a fast one.
Started. Yeah, but I mean, because someone died before they even get set up for that, because he wants someone up in that balcony.
But normally the way you take over the balcony, where I think Kusha got the AWP kill entry frag, it's a different procedure normally when you're taking things more safely. You throw some grenades, spam the walls, etc. And now Fnatic just rushing into his angle. And Dosi, of course, were able to back him up when the Fnatic tried to boost in the
and what's key actually is that the Astana players have lost very few guns over these rounds. So they've actually repaired, and with all the money that they got from the
lost 2 weapons
they were losing,
the first weapon round they won, yeah.
It hasn't even been that big a deal that they bought all those pistols.
Flasher has already taken some damage. See a defensive B setup from Astana Dragons, obviously being defenders here on Inferno. 5-2 is the score. And it feels like Fnatic has taken a decision now to cool things down. They are anticipating some aggression from the CIS team here. Snyder, compared to last round, taking a bit more cautious, awaiting the calls from Pronax. Waiting in the grenades here, that's any second is going to start to pop. That is a very important kill. He gets so much information from that.
Especially because now the guys at A know exactly what to do.
Yes.
So they know, well, it has to be A. And so you saw it immediately, they start repositioning and they're like anticipating someone coming in. Whereas before that, if you see someone fighting over a B, now you're thinking, should I rotate? Should I like go ahead early?
The swift decision that Pronax has to take is at that point is either to like, don't do the round they were planning to do, or do it straight away. Because otherwise the Astana Dragons players can start to throw defensive smokes, throw flashbangs that would ruin their timing. But now they did something in between, and I think this is going to be another clean
This is lockdown CS at the moment, actually. The key thing is, because Pronax's style on this map is so like information orientated, like he wants to hear and see what's going on before he calls
and rotate a lot.
Where you see when they aggressively push up like that, like I was describing actually in the preamble about what happened with your MTW versus your team, it fucks up the Fnatic guys. They don't get a chance to get into what they're trying to do. And so they've lost a man before they even know what the strategy is. Then like you're saying, then it's like, do we panic and do it anyway?
Right.
Do we like change our mind and do something else? Like if I was Pronax, I'd either play super slow and not even go into the positions, or I'd actually like speed the game up a bit. Just like hit a site, like do a 3-2 wrap onto A now, but without any slow picks and calls. Just do it blindly, you know, because that's the way to counter the other team trying to get more aggressive like that.
But then again, if they go for that fast rush you suggested, cArn will easily get a frag though. He's so damn aggressive. So I think that is actually in Marcus Pronex's head right now. I don't want to call another round when they're going to easily get the entry frag. So getting these kills in an early stage is so damn important. We have a 3-on-4 situation.
Yeah, but the setup is actually pretty good for
and
the
smoke
guys. Now, they don't even have to
and the bomb is in the
they have
grass
that line
there.
of sight across the
I think Fnatic missed a few grenades there. You see Snyder, that was kind of a stupid move, I would say. That smoke should have been in the CT connector, not side holes.
Now, I have to say, at the moment, Edren is playing like a boss considering he has 110 ping.
I have to say the same. Raking up a total of 7 kills, making the top fragger together with Angel. In the Fnatic camp, we have Devin Walk and JW teaming up.
And actually, a piece of info, I'm not certain if this is still the case, but the last time I checked, on HLTV.org in January, there was a news post saying that Edren was the new in-game leader for this team, whereas Angel used to be before. That was his whole job, and even back in like DTS teams and stuff, he was the in-game leader. So I wonder how that's changed things, because Edren was a guy who was like sort of out of sorts a bit in CSGO. Like, he didn't really have a full role that worked.
And this is a showcase of the financial game of Counter-Strike. Fnatic lost 4 rounds in a row, and only now, on round number 10, they are forced into an eco round. So the pistol round, 2 relatively smooth anti-ecos, is putting you into a very good position long-term in Counter-Strike. But now, Fnatic is starting to pay the price for losing 4 consecutive rounds.
Well, plus they haven't been getting bombs down.
True.
That's another key thing. So they're not getting the extra money even individually,
yeah,
or from the bomb being not diffused, but you get money for just planting anyway. So.
Right. Snyder being a bit indecisive here, where he should try to get the kill. Eventually, no jackpot for him. Angel takes him down and making it a 5-5 score. Draw. And it's starting to look like Astana is building up the economy Fnatic had earlier. Dozy at $13,000, cArn at $10,000. They're not losing too many rifles, and that's
and they're not letting bombs go down, so they're never in these after-plant situations. Even the time that the B site got took over, it was the first man who ran in. It wasn't the guy with the bomb anyway, so they never had to worry about a retake, and that's why they didn't go for aggressive pushes. They just waited, you know. And you see Fnatic again just want to attack that B site, but then again they got completely owned every time they went to A, so they have to pretty much. It's the best one you have a chance of getting into.
And getting the information that Pronax so much wants when he's calling strategies, especially on Inferno. Defensive Molotov is coming in here from Astana. Rotation. If Fnatic knows what we know right now, they should rotate to A, because pretty much every Astana player is ready for them.
They're not getting it out.
Nice try from Devin Walk. And Dosia might be able to sneak up on them here, getting 2 important frags.
Yeah.
And almost getting the 3rd one. Dosia, Duncan. Good player.
It's my boy, yeah.
It's your boy, yeah. JW is my boy here. 2-on-1 situation still. They still have the smoke grenade, which is so important now. cArn depends on a great bang with the high explosive grenade, or
he does have one guy low health though, so it depends. There we go. He takes the low health guy down. Now he's got a lot of time in a 1v1 and switches to the rifle. This is very much anyone's round now. Okay, JW takes
6 shots from JW, securing the 6th round for Fnatic, and getting the round is so much need now after being in somewhat of a downhill
that was a hard round to win, though. I mean, they lost every gun except one.
Right.
Luckily, they got the bomb plant. They got the win anyway, so it didn't matter. And obviously, Astana full money.
But so far, it almost looks like Fnatic and Astana have been trading rounds. We have 6-5. It's been earlier on very one-sided in Fnatic's favor, and now Astana is starting to pick up. Fnatic finally finds a hole in the defense of Astana Dragons and get the 6th round. But still a very open battle. I predict Astana to have the financial capabilities to purchase the remaining rounds. Crazy good frag from Flasha, getting so much information. Getting a 2nd frag through the smoke. Adrian with his 100 ping cannot do anything. But here's the tricky thing. Dozy is ready for it. And that is Fnatic not ready for.
He totally misses that first spray. Did get a guy at the end of it, which is good, but he was expecting the first one to be like an instant headshot, and then he would switch over to the other guy.
Let's just mind warp back to 1.6. What would Dozy have done there?
He just got 2 kills instantly, basically.
And straight from
that range, you'd never miss, you know, because you just shoot it all in front of you. You wouldn't even aim at the guys, you know, you're just shooting a line.
And they stop when they get hits.
Yeah, that's another crucial element of like why you can't get spray downs as well.
Sorry. Can I get a beer?
Okay, look at the money again. We do realize
they've got like a slight turnaround in momentum here, but
They're very much not out of the woods yet.
Definitely. But still, Marklo and his team, they have enough money to purchase now. We haven't seen the AWP that much anymore, I think, for Culture. One round, obviously, when he tried to retake bomb spot B. But the aggression...
But now look at the aggression on the banana. But Fnatic also haven't committed yet fully to going A. So it depends. If Astana just stay there, I think that's the right move, because then if they rotate back, you're going to have the jump on them. And you can do a quick rotation to A. The question is, if Astana push forwards now, I think they're going to get killed by the guy who's on the T ramp.
Which is probably Flasha, who is really making his job here, understanding that Astana.
But now they should have heard the call that there'll be someone down there. And they actually get a kill on him. So now if they're clever and they go back to their own spawn, there's no reason as to why they should lose this round.
And look at that setup in the middle. Completely shut down. I actually would have to give this round, like, it was basically Flasha giving it up. Because it was a frag exchange in middle, but what he should have done, obviously with our information, we realized he should just have waited, right? Because when the frag's starting to happen in A, the bomb spot B protectors from CT, they're starting to rotate.
The problem is, he himself is wondering, like, is there anyone still there? And he wants to peek. And so, that's one of the problems, actually, if you're an in-game leader that drives you crazy, is like players like take it on themselves to do stuff like, oh, I'm going to see if there's anyone there. You're like, no, your tactics is like, you do this. Or they're like, oh, I want to go in first because then I know like if there's someone there.
That's why where you need to have a player where you like subtract from all the decisions you make and you change your frags, you know that get right. I'm not going to steer him into any direction, but he's going to be able to sniff up where the opponents are anyway. Yeah, sure. But few people can rely on such person as much as NIP can, obviously, with get right skill. Late rotation here with the bomb, JW, 3-on-4 situation. I think Fnatic is going to be a clean sweep here almost.
And you see again after those round wins for Fnatic, impossible to even get in the sites. Like they're not even getting into one site. And if you notice, what's funny is they've gone back to the slow style, and that's not what's working because they're getting mowed down. Again, aggression's actually favoring the Astana players.
True.
And so if I were them, I'd just go, okay, there's one round left. It has to be a fast attack, you know.
Especially with the knowledge that Kusher most likely won't have an AWP. This round he can because it's the last round, but the past 3 rounds he didn't have the AWP. If Pronex would have considered this, they could have went for the early rush they did round number 4, I think. Or no, sorry, round number 6. When Kusher got the entry frag inside.
So they're going to be a nade down the banana, and then very quickly the Astana people will push and see if there's anyone there.
Look at the mini-map. We do see Astana being aggressive here. Dosia lurking together with a chicken in the secret room.
Now these players are in a lot of trouble right now because the Fnatic players should be able to just like pincer them in.
And we do apologize for the auto director here. Pronex getting killed by Marklov's Molotov after killing him with a pistol.
It's still very winnable round though for Fnatic.
Yes. But I think the player here tonight, he needs to change position because he has been seen through the death cam. So they know exactly where he is right now. And I don't think Angel will make any mistake here. 8 to 7.
Like I said, I kind of described it before as sort of like, I think tactically Fnatic are a bit better, but I think skill-wise Astana are a bit better. And you've seen in this game, the tactics haven't mattered that much. Okay, it got Fnatic some rounds, but again, they won the pistol round, they won the anti-ecos. So overall, they haven't done as well as they hoped they would from the beginning. While Astana, actually, a pretty good half overall.
Definitely.
They did pretty well. Almost everyone
8 round without the pistol. Well. And if we talk through the frags
and remember, I said like they probably have to win this map. Otherwise, they probably lose in 2 maps, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think like, this is by far their best map.
And to repeat the map rotation here, we have Inferno, which again is Astana's pick. Nuke is being followed up. Playing Nuke against the CIS team, historically, it's been a one-sided battle.
Well, the funny thing was, Astana used to barely play Nuke.
They were good at that.
In this team, though, they used to barely play Nuke. It was one of the maps, like, one of their least played. I mean, they always banned Train, but they always never used to play Nuke. They've played it loads more since they got rid of Edward. And actually, they've been doing, like, pretty decently, but they haven't played it a ton still, because they haven't been in many tournaments since the Edward tip.
Right.
It's only been, like, 2 or 3 tournaments. So I think it's definitely... If they win this map, then okay, now they have a chance to win in 2 maps. But I think if it gets to a 3rd map, that's where I think Fnatic will win if it's Mirage. So that's where I'm looking to see how that goes, to know what the next maps will be like.
Pissed around as always. Well, not in the Team Infused NIP game, but this is going to be super important here, being as tight as this is.
Totally, yeah.
8 to 7 in favor of Astana Dragon. They're going to start playing Terrorist in any second. We do see a
one thing I wonder
restart
about
of the
as
internet.
well is, I said, like, Adren, at least from my knowledge, is supposedly the in-game leader now. Well, in the old team when they had Angel, even though they have all these aimers, they're not like a lot of those other Russian teams where they play like free-for-all like Virtus Pro did. Instead, they actually had like super set tactics, and I think they probably went too far. Like they had like a specific flashbang here, and I think they went a little bit too overboard with it.
Yeah.
And I wonder, I would imagine Adren probably goes to more of a loose style. Because I remember like those K23 teams.
Which favors those, yeah.
Yeah, that's a better style, I think.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
like I always said as a joke, on paper, Astana is a better team than Virtus.pro, but Virtus.pro was a way better team in CSGO than Astana is. So if I were them, I'd be going back to that style of play, especially now that they've got 4 out of the 5 Virtus.pro players in the team. So you'd think if you take
but then again, different leader, Edic was able to call the shots, and it's not always about just replicating a certain style.
5. I'm on about Virtus.pro and CSGO, which was Angel as well.
True. All right, we are going live with the second half any second here. And as you see here behind us, it's getting quite crowded here in the esports bar, Meltdown esports bar. And sometimes I think the two of us are struggling to hear each other, right? But we're getting there.
Aggressive push here by fnatic, and it rewards them instantly 2 kills.
See the frag from Schneider, that was amazing.
No damage taken, so...
I can tell you what, that was pure luck.
Round. No, it was, obviously. Yeah.
So Astana now is kind of left in a dire situation. Do we try to go back to A, hoping that fnatic fall back and not having the information we believe they have?
I think on a pistol round, it's not as bad to go slow. They actually decided to go pretty quickly in because they have very good pistol round players. They just decided to take the site off completely, and immediately they take back, level it up in terms of the advantage. And crucially, they didn't lose health when they did that.
True, another bomb is planted, so it's certainly in their favor. Obviously, the diffuse situations here, it's an open story.
You could see Schneider got all the information from the depth cam there, that he knew exactly where that guy was.
And also getting a frag, but so does Adrian with 2 big frags on Snyder and Pronax, leaving them in a 2-on-1 situation.
This is where they will beat him, even though they could have forced him to come to them, but it works, they kill him anyway. Okay, so now we have a game, because if fnatic win that, I think they can start to pull away and they're going to get close to that winning around number, whereas now it's very much the chance for Astana to win this map.
And looking at the armory in the fnatic camp,
especially as you know that in general, fnatic aren't going to do those same buys on CT and risk it, which didn't work for Astana when they were early on, but they were willing to take the risk, you know. Whereas fnatic will just play a more standard, well,
they buy a few pistols, but obviously a minor investment. I don't think they have any armors. Flasher has a grenade, can be useful if it hits where it makes the most damage.
The thing is, on this map, you don't ever want to show in like medium to long range when you have pistols like this. So they get a kill there, but you're actually better off like trying to make the enemy come to you and just be very, very close.
And as soon as that kill happened, I'm trying to pay attention to the minimap.
The problem is you can't get to that gun as well because you're so far away. So you get the kill, but now this guy will just protect the gun as long as he needs.
Yeah, but then again, Duncan, if Astana is not reacting properly to that, they can still, you know, have the information banana and rotate 4 CTs to bomb spot A. You're teaming up with Snyder here, for example. But Astana is playing it cool. They know fnatic don't have any more weapons. They have some pistols.
There's no reason to attack now.
Utilizing our long-range rifles. And just trying to get some more information.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they just leave that man banana even when the others go into A and plant.
No, I tell you, they will not do that. It's too risky in CSGO. Snyder and his teammates here in A, they can easily get 2-3 kills immediately, and you don't want to gamble on that. Those there with some crazy 360 action. You see that. Crazy pistol actions from fnatic. Flasher getting his second frag at around third frag, I think. Leaving Crusher behind with the bomb, with AK, with 100 health.
Oh, he's going to get spotted immediately, though.
It's going to be tough for him.
Now he's in a really good position to win the round, though.
6 health, though. There we walk with the pistol.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
taking him down.
She does manage to get the kill. So that was a round that really should have gone Astana's way. But they kind of waited a long time, and then when they finally attacked, like, they made it way too obvious they were attacking there.
Right.
And obviously, like, listen, it's not like they fnatic could have known they'd like headshot people and kill them from like medium range with the pistols. You can't plan for that, but so a bit of good fortune on their behalf. But Astana could have played it differently, obviously.
Bottom line, Astana still had advantage when they started to attack.
And there was no reason to attack 1 by 1 like that. You could have gone in with 3, and then what's the guy with the pistol going to do? You're not going to headshot 3 people in a row with a pistol.
If this was 1.6, we would have seen Astana Dragon buying, like full buy, dropping some AKs, etc. But now they're getting some pistols instead. Playing this as somewhat of an eco round, deluxe with some pistols that are not the Glock, obviously. Kind of a clean anti-eco from fnatic. Snyder is most likely going to get his 5th frag here.
This is not a very good aim show right here.
It's not. Maybe the players are having some beers. been a long day here so far with some issues initially, but now we're obviously game on here, 9-9, as close as we could have wished for. Well, the most of it at least. fnatic being CT, first map, Astana's pick Inferno. Weapon round incoming. Looking at the money situation, Astana is obviously kind of destined to win here, otherwise fnatic is going to force them into another eco and also building up their economy at the same time. Great grenade team from fnatic, killing off Kusher.
Yeah, and you see now fnatic are taking the same initiative that the Astana guys had. They're playing really aggressive on CT side.
Most likely it's just the current meta though, don't you think?
To some degree.
But I would say compare Pronax and let's say Angel or Adrian being the in-game leader. Compare them to Existence in Very games. I feel that these two in-game leaders in front of us today, they take more risks, basically. Which kind of generates a faster Counter-Strike. Speaking about fast, Astana is not taking it very fast today. Camping with the bomb down here, Markloff and his teammates are slowly trying to reclaim the banana area.
This is actually the style of Astana and those Experts Pro players, though. Especially Dosia is super passive.
Lurking around.
But it actually works, because the thing is, since his skill is so good, he's just looking for constant 1v1 duels. Then he can obviously win it because he has the skill. He doesn't want to do like set strategies where you're just rushing in, trying to overpower them with teamwork. So expect to see this a lot on the C side.
Definitely.
But now the information is completely there. And now basically it would have been close to impossible to win that round anyway, I think.
Yeah, even if Markloff got Deadwalk, it was game over. And the good old money situation, we always speak about them, but it's worth to emphasize that Astana is in a very bad situation here. 2.5k, averaging around there, equals another eco round. Whereas fnatic is building up to...
And of course, 3 of them by guns.
Why not?
This is the Astana style.
1 degree, I think the success they had in 1.6 with the Deagle is actually counterproductive here in CSGO.
Well, they get there's 1 kill for Adren,
which was a counter to JW's opener on Markloff with a nice headshot. Pronax and his men are progressively moving more aggressive into the banana area. It's actually 3 of them there. So imagine if Snyder is approached here by 3 attacking Astana players. That could actually be a very interesting round. But little do they know the setup fnatic is planning here. Kind of a good 1 frag position from Snyder though, isn't it?
Well, he can pull back as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's going to get swarmed as if he was in the pit down there. Like, if they jump out, then he has position on them. So yeah. it's not as bad. And he so far, he's obviously had communication like no one is there. So he wasn't so worried except for that 1 spot. Because they can't be up mid, essentially.
All right. Weapon round incoming here. Round number 21. Between fnatic and Astana Dragons. 11-9 is the score in favor of the Swedes. Obviously playing here on land, but on an online server against the CS team. That I think now is reaching somewhere around 2 or 3 a.m. Time zone is not really playing in favor of Astana at this point. Even more aggressive peak from JW than we saw from Kusher earlier.
Why is it in favor of Astana? Isn't it like 5, 6 in the morning in Russia or something?
Yeah, in the morning. Is that in favor of them? Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Not in favor. No, whatever I said.
Yeah, you said in favor. So I wondered why. It's the opposite, I think.
Rephrase that in favor of fnatic, playing on a more convenient time zone. Put it that way.
But then again, though, if you're the Russian players, then that money's worth, it's worth a bit more over there. So perhaps stay up and win some $1,500, boys.
Sounds like a plan. And Kusher is all for that, but you see here Flasha playing a bit like Getrike and Dosia here, hiding. Cannot anticipate him, but obviously now he's
completely clean. And now the Astana guys are committed to doing this. So one's going to get shot in the back in a second, but actually, bizarrely, that guy didn't do anything, and he got a free kill. Now Astana should be able to win from this position at the moment, but not if you just wildly spray every bullet like that.
And Adrian being left with 17 HP, grenade still. Oh wow, grenade frag. I think it's really worth to point out how amazing play from flusha that was. I mean, he was dancing the bullets, enabling the rotation to come back to be much faster. Whereas other player styles, Snyder's a good example. Maybe, let me put a name here from Astana. Perhaps Markelov, he would try to go for the second kill straight away. People like flusha, people like Getright, they know how to stall their opponents and increasing their team's winning chances rather than adding another frag to their own frag list.
You did see, though, how the players from Astana always value like individual skill over positional play. Because in that scenario, when he missed those first few bullets, it's not like he was being killed. He could have just pulled back and then taken another fight, but instead he decided, like, no, I'm going to kill this guy, like, I'm going to keep spraying. So he actually gambled when it perhaps wasn't necessary.
Right. A 5-on-3 situation for Fnatic at the score 12-9, to be precise. Bomb is slowly moving towards the side holes, the carpet, and the balcony area of bomb spot A. Solid setup from Fnatic, having the peek in banana. Now realizing there's no one there. We see the rotation coming in. flusha, of course, taking down Dozy as well. That doesn't help. And I cannot see Astana walking away with more than one frag in this round, Duncan.
Well, what's funny is the Astana players saw that almost every time Fnatic went super slow on their team side, they would push up and kill them, and they're allowing Fnatic to do the same, but like even a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas you'd think that they'd like take the message from like, oh, play more aggressively, play faster, or don't do the tactics where you just stop as soon as the first guy dies. You go in anyway, you know.
There's a bit of duck count
Especially
going on
they're
now.
about to die without even, they're only taking one gun from Fnatic.
Yeah, they got one eventually. JW went down.
So little money going to them aside from the money they're accruing from winning round after round. So the extra like 500 or whatever it is.
Pretty awful situation for Astana. Finding himself with a 13-9 deficit. No money in the bank, pretty much. Forcing themselves into, I think, is the fourth eco round this half. And they only played 8 rounds so far of it.
See, this is where it actually stacks up if you don't ever win any of these ecos where you buy pistols. Because once you've done it 3 or 4 times, you've actually cost yourself like a better buy round.
True.
And if you'd have won that one, you'd have had a much better chance of winning that than you would have the 3 other ones. But when these players play round by round like that, they don't think of it, they don't add it up like that. So that's why, that's always been the flaw in that approach. That's why, in general, the better teams from Scandinavia don't do that. Because they'd rather have that one round that they're going to actually do tactics on and make the best of it with rifles, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Your mid-game economy really goes down if you're not able to pull
Another
any
reason
kills
why
off.
they always do that as well, by the way, is because since everyone in their region does it, then it's not as big a risk to do it because the other guy's doing it to you anyway. He's buying the deagle every time. So it's not like he's punishing you with a better economical grasp.
But then playing organized teams like Scandinavian teams or the French-Belgian team Vario games, it's going to hurt you.
Well, especially as when they buy the pistol, they do it because they have a set thing in mind. Like a specific strategy, we're going to go here and we're going to get the kill, and this is how we'll win the round. Whereas the Eastern European teams buy it haphazardly, where they still play like a normal eco, just try and peek with the pistols, but they just buy a better pistol and trying to get a headshot. But that's not really a strategy that works in the long run.
In terms of
almost close to the win here.
In terms of these pistol ecos, buying the Deagle, P250 or the double pistols, whatever, compared to 1.6, I think in CSGO is all about to maintain the swarm. You know, like swarm your opponents, because it's so damn hard to spray as CT. Whereas in 1.6 it was like clean headshot, precise flashbangs. But this is all about the swarm, and I don't think the Russians are particularly good at that. They're more like running around by themselves.
Too individualistically, they don't like actually they sort of bait each other a bit. Yeah. Because they're so skilled, that can work, but they don't do it right in terms of how you would even play the eco round in that sense. But they've got an opening kill on this round at least, so this is a potential to take a round back.
Yeah, but from looking at the position of the bomb right now, we have to anticipate a slow round still. The bomb is down in the T-choke at this point. Fnatic obviously being down 4-5, but the time is actually ticking here. And now is the tricky decision from Astana. Where should we attack?
They're going to go A no matter what, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I'm not quite sure about that. They're hesitating, they're losing time. And that is actually favors Fnatic here, the longer it goes. They need to maximize.
They finally decide to go B.
Seems like it. And now they have to run with only 32 seconds on the clock. Imagine
they've done the right move, actually. Fnatic has accidentally rotated a man to the library. And so that if they go in right now, they're going to have a 3-on-1. Well, 5-on-1 in theory. But initially a 3-on-1.
That was really poor
and
communication.
Look, Schneider still thinks it could be A, so they've waited the maximum amount of time almost.
Yeah.
And it's because they had a man there holding them in position, making them think it's going to be a last second over here.
But I wouldn't like to translate this scenario that occurred into Astana playing it right. I think Fnatic played it wrong. They should have gained much more information than they did. Having the banana peak or flashing themselves and taking over middle just for the sake of it. That's the only chance. They cannot leave one guy in B and expect him to kill 4 people.
Well, when you're a man down, it is correct to rotate over, but they did it just through gambling. They had no information whatsoever.
True.
So obviously, if they'd have gone A, that would have been like a brilliant move to already be there without having to know.
I mean, that is kind of the sensible thing to do, especially when you lose the guy there. (14-10) is the score. It's getting quite intense here. Looking at the scoreboard and the money board, we can probably make the conclusion that Fnatic is forced into an eco in case they lose this round. And Kusher surprisingly picking up the AWP.
No,
Normally
he knows they're aggressively up there. Well, the thing with their team is, in theory, so many of them can AWP. Like even Dosia sometimes will use it.
Wow, that was a long
round
duel.
there. I mean, if the Fnatic guy had stopped that earlier, he probably could have killed Dosia cleanly, but he was just a few seconds too late.
4-on-4. Kind of the same scenario here. Rotation from Fnatic. But are Astana Dragon going to attack? That is the question. A lot of hesitation going on, taking the peaks, gaining more information.
I mean, someone's going to go back to B in a minute, and there's going to be a fight on the banana now.
If you look at the mini map now, guys, you're going to realize that
they're going to be looking right at him when he comes out. Okay, that was a worthwhile trade because now they're going to get into the site just in time. There'll be one guy there at the moment.
Trade was fine, but the positioning from their walk wasn't ideal. I would hide a little bit more because he still can bank that he will get the first frag.
And that spray got Markov down to 1 health. But because he was looking through smoke, he had no way of knowing it now.
1-on-2 situation. Markov have 1 health. Flush at 100. He has the kit. He's rotating from the side.
Markov wants to go behind now. That was actually the correct move because he had 1 health. He has to gamble that he can get like right behind and get a free kill on someone. So good round from Fnatic. Actually, that reminds me of a famous round that Markov had in 1.6, which was at the tournament, one of those ICSC tournaments in Kiev. And he played against the Poles on Inferno in the final.
Right.
And he did like a 1v4 with 1 health in that exact position there where he went like behind, killed one, went and got another one. And he obviously didn't die. He didn't even lose a single health point the whole time.
Back in the glory days.
It actually like haunted the Poles because that was like the round that like turned around the final. And then Na'Vi won this final over the Polish guys. And at the time, they just lost IEM to them. And so they were seriously like, we can never beat Na'Vi. Like if that even happens, then how can we ever win now?
I barely saw that on my screen, but JW picks down Dosia here in the map round for Fnatic, 15-10. Galil in the hands of Angel. Markov with AK, of course. Spraying down Snyder through the wall. JW being a bit too aggressive. Nice headshot from him on Markov. We're going to see more aggression from JW. Eventually going down to Markov. Sorry, Adrian. Lasha trying to resolve the situation. 3-on-2 in favor of Fnatic. I think we're going to have game, set, map here with Duncan any second. And yes, we do. They walk with a double kill, taking down Angel, securing the 16th round for Fnatic, which of course means 1-0. And a few minutes ago, you said that if Astana is not able to win on Inferno, they're not going to win this game at all. With Nuke coming up, with Mirage coming up.
I mean, Nuke is a chance to win. It's not like it's a map that Fnatic like. In fact, what's funny is Nuke is the map that Fnatic always ban. And it looks like they're loading Mirage up, so maybe we got the wrong...
No, actually they're loading Dust up.
Dust? Okay.
I doubt we're going to play that. I think the map admin had one too many drinks here. But yes, I think it's going to be Nuke.
Well, that's interesting that they would actually play Nuke, though, because Fnatic not only almost never played Nuke before, but with Pronax, I don't think they've ever played Nuke. I can't think of a time. No, I don't think they've ever played it in competition.
Wind of changes.
Yeah, I wonder if the reason they're doing it is because, well, for example, Dust 2 didn't go very well at the Invitational. They were telling me before from practice that they don't want to play Inferno. Well, if you want to throw maps out, you have to pick up another map, don't you? So,
True.
I mean, it's not necessarily bad to pick up Nuke because, okay, they barely played it before, so maybe they thought they were bad at it. They never played it with Pronax, so we don't actually know if they're bad at it, especially because he came in so short notice, he had to stick with the maps that they already know.
True.
So once you change your player, especially the in-game leader, that can totally change what map you're good at. Because, for example, the fact that the Astana guys are good at Nuke, well, Markov used to be terrible at Nuke when he was on the Na'Vi guys. Like, it totally changes depending on what team you're in. I also think, in fairness, if you're a good team, I never bought that excuse of Na'Vi, like, oh, we can't be good on Nuke. Like, if you're a really good team, you should be able to be, because it's like a fundamental map of CS, you know.
Yes.
Okay, you won't be good immediately if you haven't played it, but
I can speak about that for hours.
Every team should be good on Train, every team should be good on Nuke, if you're a really top team, you know.
Right. All right, I think we're going to head over to the studio in Milan. FACEIT, are you guys ready? We need a few minutes break here to move on to Nuke, which is Fnatic's pick. We have 16 to 10 on the first map, which is Inferno, and we're here at the Meltdown esports bar in London. See you soon.
All right, thanks, guys. That was a really interesting first map. I can't wait to see what happens on Nuke, and I'm sure you guys can't wait either. So stay tuned. We'll have a quick break coming up. When we're back, we'll see a second map.
Duncan?
Nope.
Shaking his head, but we can realize still by looking at the scoreboard, Fnatic is up 1-0. Another great start for Fnatic. Similar to Inferno, a rather spotless anti-eco round is coming in, powered by the FAMASes and the P90s. They have equipped themselves with. But actually the bomb goes down. And they're desperately looking for Kutcher. Who has a scout, I think. Who is probably going to save the scout.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
Make that 2-0 Fnatic. Interestingly enough, Kutcher saved the scout, but how do you use that on Nuke being terrorists?
Well, I mean, you can see they're just going to give it to
Markelov.
Yeah. Just hope he gets a pick, I guess. I mean, I guess you could like boost up the rock or something. I can't really think where else you can use it though.
Right.
Especially as it's not a gun where you're going to kill them immediately with. That's the big problem.
Unless you hit a lucky headshot. Surprisingly though, they give it to Markelov this round. Normally Kutcher is the main AWP, it seems like, in CSGO. Kind of a standard round, but luckily Kutcher did give his scout away to Markelov and picked it up an AK, which he eventually eliminates Flusha with. Dossier is very low at 18 health. We have somewhat of a standoff here. Astana is not taking any risks. Fnatic is just trying to control the map as much as they can. And the only way to do that right now is to have somewhat of a peak yard, because otherwise the whole defense system is gonna collapse. There will try to spray for the wall, but eventually goes down to Angel. We're starting the journey towards the lower bomb spot B. In a 5-on-2 situation, if I was Fnatic now, I would save.
Yeah, the other thing you have to realize in this particular game is that there's no way for Astana to have any information on what Fnatic do on Nuke unless they've specifically scrimmed them, because they've never played Nuke with Pronax. So
they are scrimming them quite a bit.
But whether they play this map or not is the question, you know.
I do not know the map system at EMS. Are you familiar to that?
Not sure. But the other thing is as well, though, Fnatic are like famously bad in scrims. So it's also very difficult to take anything away from it, because first of all, you're beating them most of the time, and secondly, they don't play the same way on LAN that they do online anyway.
Mm-hmm. But in terms of a group stage at EMS, I think we're going to talk about a map pool of 5 maps, the standard ones.
Yeah.
How would you like to see the elimination process work? Would you like to have pre-decided maps? In my opinion, not too fair against some, in some matchups.
I hate that system, yeah.
So you need to have an elimination system.
You should always be veto, in my opinion. Especially because tournaments always insist on using like map round difference to decide who goes through.
Which is the biggest bullshit ever.
It's ultimately unfair to have people play different maps. I mean, the obvious example is if you start T-side on Train and you play twice on Train and start both times T-side, it's going to be much harder for you to get the same amount of rounds in the end round total as to me if I start T-side on Inferno for those 2 games. So it's not even identical between us, even though we played the same number of games.
But I think eventually tournament organizers got their stuff together by implementing the kind of GSL format winner,
I prefer that
winner,
system a
winner,
lot,
loser,
yeah.
loser, loser, whatever it is.
The best part about that system is that every single match that you're playing it always is counting towards something.
True.
And so there's never a time that you can be like messing around or throwing. It'll never happen. You just play. Yeah, the key thing here obviously is to just try and get Schneider in position to be able to pick up a couple of kills somewhere.
Yeah, so far not so lucky with that.
I wonder why when it's on Markov it's always tilted like he's playing GoldenEye or something where you can peek around the corners.
Sitting with your mates and playing Nintendo 64. Nice frag from Dosia. Kind of notorious position there for him. Pronex with a nice frag. If I was him, I would save that FAMAS. He's not really covering his back. Eventually Pronex goes down, and so does Flasha, 2-2. Great recovery from Astana, forcing Fnatic into... Yeah, actually, this is going to be a buy round. Sorry about that. But they don't have too much money. They have JW on a FAMAS. And FAMAS, I don't have the statistics to back this statement up with, but it's less powerful in CSGO.
Okay,
Huge understatement.
Probably a good assumption to make, yeah. I mean, for the start of it's not as high in the tier of weapons, so you'd hope so. And it costs less money, so you'd also hope so.
Yeah. But also, like, the beauty with the FAMAS in 1.6, long range, having the burst.
Yeah, yeah.
If you aim for the head, you got 2 headshots, basically. You can easily get faster kills.
Yeah, what people didn't
M4.
understand about that is it's not that it was even better long range. It's that to burst required a lot more technique because you had to know exactly the amount to pull down the second bullet, depending on range, because really long range, even a 1/10 of a millimeter is like 10 meters above the guy's head when he's at the very end. Whereas with the FAMAS, as long as you got the first bullet on target, the second one was going really near it. And that's why people who had sick one bullet aim, like Zneil, he had really good.
I knew you were going to say him.
AK, okay, but I mean, when he used the FAMAS, because of that, when he used burst mode, he was very good at getting it, because he only had to aim the first bullet.
Was another Swedish player, name-dropping now, name-dropping deluxe, Rottad Maya, you remember him? Kind of a mixed hero, but maybe he hasn't been under your radar.
I only watch good players.
You only watch good players. It was quite good, actually. Moving on, 2-on-2 is the score. We have a 2-on-5 situation in favor of Astana. Starting to gain momentum here, starting to control more and more of map nuke. Fnatic's pick. Most likely it's going to go to a 3-2 advantage to Astana. Some crazy action from JW.
For some reason, Markov's POV for us is always tilted to one side like that. Maybe he's just like really hood and he walks like, yo man, you don't want to fuck with me?
It looks a bit like the game that Min Lee, the Counter-Strike creator, created recently.
Tactical intervention or whatever.
Tactical intervention, yes. So you can like lean and all that
Someone should have
stuff.
had a tactical intervention on him when he had the meeting to decide that name. I thought Counter-Strike was a bad name. That's a terrible name.
Yeah.
Then again, his real name is Min Lee, so...
AKA Gooseman. I actually had a...
No, Gooseman's not a bad name. That's all right.
All right. Name discussions aside, back to a game of Counter-Strike Go here. Markov and his team is starting to...
Oh, a lot of kills though
really
for
shine
Fnatic.
here. Eventually goes down though. 4-2. Strong T size so far, especially so without the pistol round. And
Okay, JW is going to go for an AWP, so... This map actually in CSGO is way more risky to buy an AWP on than it was in 1.6. People still often didn't AWP on 1.6, but the reason why is because you can move around those vents so quickly that, like, if you don't get kills outside, you can become almost entirely useless by using the AWP out there. And so it's really hard to retake with an AWP on this map, in particular in CSGO.
right.
So many of the fights are like after-plant situations where you're in the vents, or you're like 2v2, or you're having to push aggressively in and fight on different levels.
But
It's
also
one of the worst maps to have the AWP on, I think.
Yeah, but also the limitation of the game physics. You know, Markov, he can like kill anyone at any range with AWP, like quick shots. That's something
In
you don't see
1.6,
too much
yeah,
in CSGO.
but no, in CSGO, it's very unlikely that you see those, like, we call them
It
no-scopes.
kind of has to be long range.
Yeah. Which is also one of the problems of this map, because when you use the AWP outside, now you're in a position where they can smoke off, they can go secret, or they can go into the garage, whereas you at least got that first shot, or a chance at the first shot in 1.6 when you had the AWP. So you at least for sure had the information and maybe even killed the first guy.
I think we're having A attack coming in. Actually, that was a fake. They're going to attack B, where JW is waiting with AWP. You can also see he has backup there.
Down.
Perfectly played from Fnatic so far. But it all depends what decision-making Adrian and his team does now. Dosia is
now,
obviously
since
behind.
Dosia's down, what he's going to try and do is they're going to hold the ramp as he comes in. And there we go. Free first kill completely. And that's the guy. Well, it's just Pronax actually. But now they all know to look in the vents now. That was a lot easier than I anticipated it would be.
True. But also, to be fair to you here, Duncan, look at the HP of Fnatic players at like 2 and 3. It could have gone either way at that point.
And crucially, JW does get to keep the AWP. Bearing in mind that was like the first Fnatic buy round. And it's not like they'd lost a lot of rounds in a row. They only lost something like 2 or 3, so...
True.
They'd only just got to like the cap of the money, basically.
We're not sure over here if you're seeing the same crazy FOV as we are seeing here from London, but yeah, whenever Markov is playing, it looks like, yeah, tactical intervention, I guess.
What a nice kill without taking a single bullet of damage.
Kind of a revolutionary way of using the AWP on Nuke, isn't it? Dropping floor.
I mean, it's going to be unexpected, so
True.
That has a benefit to it in itself, even if ultimately it's not going to be the best tactic every round, yeah.
That was silly by Adrian, I feel. He should have known the AWP is on floor, even though he probably anticipated him to rotate somewhere.
Oh, Pronax got a bit lucky there.
Yeah.
He was actually just firing that bullet to like escape, but it hit anyway.
That's like Frags Forest does all the time.
Yeah, but when it's Forest, you're like, wow, what a great shot.
So much skill in him. Okay, a clean sweep from Fnatic, putting them up into a 4-4 score. And things are changing slowly in terms of the financial part of the game. We're going to see Astana being able to afford at least one more round, going full AK on this round.
Well, what's funny is that unless JW keeps going crazy with the AWP, in the end, eventually, you would imagine it's going to be a disadvantage to have it. And so actually, by obviously winning rounds isn't a bad thing, but now in theory, they could get totally overtaken on this one round while he still has it alive with it.
I like the decision to attack A now. It's going to be really interesting to see if Fnatic can hold them off. Adrian with 2 quick frags. Markov left by himself. 42 health against Flash and Devilwalk, both catwalk, I think.
Oh, he's somehow gotten it into an advantageous position for him. There's so much time left.
And he does know that Snyder has dropped, Flash has dropped floor. This is going to be intense. Markov is hoping for some luck through the wall. Eventually getting Flash out.
Obviously. Initially, Fnatic did that really well. They avoided all the flashes. They were always in position where, as one guy was attacking an Astana guy, another guy stepped out and killed that Astana guy. Then even if he died, someone else stepped out and pushed around.
Until the last 2-on-1, though.
Well, it's also like individual play from Markov decided the round. You know, you couldn't have told that he was going to kill both the guys when he's above the ladder. And at the end there, he wasn't sure where Flusher was the whole time. He thought he was in the smoke. And so it was all timing on when JW decided to attack. That's the thing. Markov is like deceptively good. Like you keep thinking because he's not like dominating the games, like, oh, he's not as good anymore. But he's still quite a good 1v1 type player. Like still a good rifler. It's just he's not dominating with the AWP like he used to and taking over whole games. I think
that's what it is, because he never was an amazing rifle in 1.6 either.
He was good.
He was good, but how well the team played enabled him to fucking purchase the AWP every fucking round. I mean, he was probably one of few players that used AWP on every single side, consistently. You never saw him without the AWP on Dust 2. He fucking bought it on pistol rounds even.
And you see Astana, I thought they were going to play maybe a looser style with a Dren, but it looks just like the old style where they're really slow. They're waiting for like a 1v1 somewhere, and then they're going to decide what they do. And you can tell in advance they don't have like a really set strategy at the moment. Or if they do, it involves attacking at 25 seconds, which is a type of play I hate. Because then when one thing goes wrong on the bomb planting guy, you don't get the bomb down.
Dosia picks off Snyder from main.
So they have their entry now. Now 18 seconds, so they have to plant immediately. See, this is where the problems happen. Now you can't stop and fight this guy. So even though you have the advantage, now you have to plant the bomb.
And it's all down to Devilwalk. And luckily for Devilwalk, he has not been spotted that round, so he can kill the injured from the back, making the score 5-5. Extremely tight at this point. And also great for us.
The thing with that round is it was a good round, but the way it played out, there's no reason as to why the Astana players couldn't have just gone 10 seconds earlier. And if they do, they wouldn't be forced in a position like that where they can just be killed for free at the end. It's actually something that famously MIBR from Brazil used to do all the time. Every terrorist tactic involved waiting until 30 seconds, then running in and planting the bomb in like 1 second.
Yes.
And by the way, the amount of times they ran the clock out without getting a bomb down was like ridiculous.
They were like, yeah, we're going for a boot camp at Inferno Line. We're going to play CS this time. Let's play it as much as possible. Because I remember these boot camps against them. They were like waiting until fucking 15 seconds left on the clock before they even started to show on the map. Like seriously, it's not bullshit. They waited so much. Which doesn't make so much sense though if you compare the Brazilian mindset in other games. Like football is all about the passion, it's all about the individuals, not all about the individual skill. But it's a lot of freedom, it's a lot of creativity. But
well, I always saw
CS,
it as, in the history of Brazilian CS, they had really bad in-game leaders. They used to just play sort of free-for-all style, right? So I always saw it as when they got one sort of good leader, that guy Bit1, everyone just did whatever he said, and he had his own wacky style that he thought worked, and it sort of did work. I mean, they won some dream hacks and came like top 3 at some events.
But they kind of bored people to death.
They were never going to beat like the world-class teams with that style. It's not a good long-term style at all.
How sick does that look? Quick heal from Snyder and Pronax coming in.
Yeah, this round they've gone completely to shit for Astana right now, but that's what happens when you have Markov on your team and he does that. JW with the shotgun. 3 health from Markov. Make that 0. 7-5 Fnatic. Kind of a weird round. It's the same story again, which is that the CT team plays aggressively on maps where sometimes people don't play aggressively. And because, well, before it was Fnatic, but now it's been Astana twice on these T sides, they're so passive that actually it means that the aggression on them is working. And even worse, once you get that first killer and you know all the information of where they are and where they're set up, that's when everyone can just swarm. Like the guys at ramp room can push up really fast, or someone can push up through the hut. That's always the danger in those slow tactics.
Yes.
I mean, so far, by the way, still a perfectly fine number of rounds for the Astana Dragons players. The problem is, it does surprise me when they started playing this map more before. So I remember seeing them play it a couple of times in online cups. Like I saw them play it against Very Games once, and I thought they were pretty terrible at it, to be honest. Especially on CT side, even they weren't very good.
Oh, look at those, yeah. You got 2 guys from the back here. And it's the game of Counter-Strike, ladies and gentlemen, it's nothing else. But I would love if the auto director is going to show us Dorsey at this point, because he can pull some Matic here. At least get a few kills and pick up a weapon. But then again, bomb is in front of the I was about to say the yellow hut, but the blue hut. And Dorsey is just lurking around somewhere, which we can't see now. Not sure. In my opinion, he should at least try to get the kills there and then, because he could have kept 100 health, pick up 2 weapons, and do some kind of Matic.
I mean, it's okay to let the second guy go past, but then you have to go and try and kill both in the back.
And now he's like vanished. Where's Dosia? Oh, there he is.
Yeah, like for example, he actually got himself a way worse final scenario to have a chance at a kill.
What would GetRight have done there? You know GetRight inside and out.
I think he would have let the second guy go past, but then he would have followed up behind him and tried to kill both immediately, and then if close range, that's the ideal range to take him on with the pistol. Either that, or if you want, you can just save out completely, because the bomb's going to go off anyway, so it's not like you're saving out like a terrorist does.
Well, the bomb wasn't planted, right? And he didn't have a weapon, so should he save his P250? That's the thing. So weird decision making.
For a gun or something.
Yeah. Moving on, 8-5 in favor of Fnatic. We have seen some successful A pushes from Astana Dragons. They have really found the flashbangs handy, but whenever they're trying to play it slow, Fnatic has punished them. And obviously the importance of an entry frag without any health being dealt to Fnatic. Even though Markov and his team, they're able to completely take over bomb spot A, the upper bomb spot. Bomb is planted, 35 seconds on the clock. One-on-one situation. Once again, this devil walk left from Fnatic. And once again, I think he's going to go main by looking at the overview. And this time around, he's revealed before the T is revealed. And Kush is finding a very good position here. I don't think he can lose this.
No, he wasn't going to lose after that flash went down, because he could hold position. Actually, the player I've noticed in the server so far who hasn't really done almost anything is actually Dosia. Like, in both maps, other people have been good, they've done a lot, but he hasn't really done a whole lot himself, whereas usually That's the good thing. Even on games they lose, he's the guy who puts up a lot of kills because of his style of play, you know, like that get right or Dozier style is always going to allow you to get numbers no matter what.
Frag exchange going on the yard. And what I like to see from Snyder now, compared to previous round, he should go aggressive in the blue hut. But then again, these guys are the pros, we are not. Something is fine in flusha is his movement. He's kind of brilliant when it comes to CSGO movement. You don't see that too much, do you?
Well, the weird thing about... Actually, let's just watch this on because they're now into the upper side. Okay, Adren now completely opened it up. So they're going to have a chance at a bomb plant here.
3 nice headshots from him with 110 ping.
And he knows the last one's there. Still loads of time, obviously.
I'm not sure if this is statistical fluctuation or not, but Devil Walker finding himself alone all the time. Fourth headshot from Adrian, that's amazing. That's surely going to be a frag highlight.
No, I mean, considering it seemed like Fnatic were dominating a lot of that half, in the end, Astana still gets 7 rounds, very good. Like, you would expect them to now win this map. You just have to get 9 rounds of CT. That's a very doable thing, especially if you get the pistol as well, obviously. So I think we're on course for a 3rd map, the way it's going at the moment. Actually, when you were talking about flusha, I was reading Lurpus's like post-DreamHack Invitational, and he was mentioning how like he thinks flusha is like a star player now. And actually, I think that's what's interesting is because everyone mentions because of the frag movies, like, oh, JP is the star player of Fnatic. Whereas I actually think JP's pretty inconsistent.
JW,
like, he has,
yeah.
JW rather, yeah. He has like the good game where he has the bit, but he's actually never like a consistent star. So I think maybe Lurpus has a point that flusha's almost like the hidden star in that team where like, because he doesn't win by putting up the massive 30 frags, he wins with like 1v2s or like a clutch play at the right time. It doesn't show up on the scoreboard, but I think he might be right. I think flusha might actually be the best player in Fnatic right now.
I would like to comment on that. We're just going to follow the pistol round here. Fnatic has been dealt a lot of damage now. Devil Walk on 8 health, Snyder on 3. This is going to be really tough for them. They need to get the bomb planted. They should consider themselves lucky if they get a bomb planted this round. Pistol action happening here from Dozier.
Cleverly used the door to deflect all of them, but still got killed anyway.
But look at the health from Fnatic. Raking up a total of 350 health or something like that right now. But obviously, in terms of people left, it's a 3-on-3 situation. Everything can still happen. But I wonder where the bomb is. I think it's not been picked up yet. JW and his team is removing some health from Angel. And we see a team kill from flusha, the man of the hour we just discussed. Great position from Markov. Oh, silly mistake from Adrian, I would say.
Yeah, a very hard round for flusha to win now, though. Oh, we'll see.
NIP,
still tough
games,
to win
they
now,
would never
though.
have done that.
Over. There we go. Now, as you said, like a mistake obviously from Adren, but that's the thing. This particular team of players is full of players who always take every gunfight. They will never use position against like another player. Now, that's like always been a trend with star players anyway, that they always believe they're going to hit their shot and out-aim the other guy. So to them, I'll take the duel, so I can take it on my terms rather than letting him come to me. But in that sort of a scenario, especially on a pistol round type scenario, you don't want to like even risk that, do you? You want to ensure you get that round in the bag, which in the end they won anyway, but it was a risky way to do it. And now Astana fully set up to take this half if they just get it rolling.
Definitely. Fnatic being T is going to be really hard now without the pistol round in their backs. And Astana in a few moments, they're going to claim the 9th round and take the lead. But Duncan, speaking about star players of CSGO, flusha, Get Right, etc. Forest, where do you put Forest in this list anymore? And what I want to get at, I consider Forest to be a similar player style as JW, kind of aggressive, versatile, pistols, rifles, AWP.
Entry fragger, likes to go for like 2 or 3 kill, multi-kill sequences early in the round.
In CS 1.6, these were the people that shown the most, you know.
That's they were the people everyone usually considered the star players. That's
but now you're saying flusha in Fnatic.
Yeah, but I think
skill-wise, it's probably a little bit less good.
No, he's not as skilled as Forest. The thing is, Forest is
or
a better
JW.
player.
I would say skill-wise, JW is the most skilled player in Fnatic. I would say.
But the thing is, those players are streakier, Forest and JW. Whereas Get Right and flusha, because they're playing with their smarts.
But are they or the playing style. It's probably the playing style, you know, being
well, the
more
other thing
passive.
is, because not many people can do that effectively in CSGO, they're going to stand out more the few that can, because then they become really valuable. The thing is, I still think Forrest is a really good player in CSGO. His problem is he's not Forrest in 1.6. Like, he can't just be the best player in the whole world.
Yeah.
He occasionally has the times when he does do that, but it's much more rare than it was in 1.6. You can't base your team around it, you know.
But how much can you take away from him being the best CS 1.6 of all time? I mean, you don't agree. You consider Neo to be the best, but
I mean,
the consistency for
it's so
show
close, though, that it's not
between
like,
2004 and 2012 is amazing. It's out of this world. Okay, Dozia finding himself left by himself here. Surprisingly, JW and Snyder is taking over bomb spot A together with Flasha. And I think they have spotted Dozia. The only thing he can do at this point is to save the weapon, but I don't think he's going to do it.
I'm not even sure it would really matter if you saved it at this point.
True, it's still too early in the half. And if they will win this round, they will probably win the match anyway. So it's a high risk, high reward.
Anyway.
Nine to 9 is the score. Second map, Counter-Strike Forever in London. Obviously with Astana Dragons and NIP playing remotely together with fnatic and
Yeah, that's actually another feature, by the way, of Eastern European teams, is that their mentality really is like, do we have enough money to buy next round? Yes. Okay, then I won't save this gun. Whereas everyone else is like, we'll save the gun anyway, just so we have more money.
True.
But they're like, well, no, but then we'll bet the guns and kill everyone. Oh, okay, yeah, deal. That really is, because they're so confident in their aim, you know. It's a different way of thinking about the game. But it also takes a while to get used to playing that. If you've only played Swedish teams, you'll be totally thrown off by that.
I also
like, why do these guys keep buying over and over?
I also think the hierarchy, how they're looking at a leader, is
one amazing round that was. Marco pushed into the hut just as he got communication from the guys here that they were going into the radio, and he killed two like instantly. And that's completely turned the round on its head there. Whereas otherwise, it would have been a full attack onto the bomb site in lower.
Leaving Flasha, defensive Flasha behind. You know, very tricky 1-on-4 situation. Obviously, it's already spotted. He's going to go down any second. Unless we have a miracle from fnatic here. So the rounds are being traded. Moving into late game, it's going to be really interesting to see who can keep the composure up. And again, to everybody's tuning in on this FACEIT Twitch TV stream, if you ever hear like Thorin interrupting me or the other way around, it's because there's a lot of noise around there. So it's very hard to hear each other.
I'd love to know who designed this map and put those massive like containers of like toxic waste there. I'd like to.
If you know, what are you gonna do?
I'd like to work in their office, right, and go in every day and give them like a nice cup of soup. But then they wouldn't know that I put a tiny bit of toxic waste in there, and I'd be like, "You like toxic waste, bitch? You've been drinking it for the last 2 years."
So where would you find that?
Yeah.
Up in Middlesbrough? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Just the industrial byproduct from my hometown.
In other words, you don't like it. You don't like that.
No, I think it's retarded. It's spoiled the site, hasn't it? And it just looks like shit anyway.
Everything cannot be like back in the glory Quake 1 days. Kids today, they want some details in the maps. $11 to 9 is the score. Astana, of course, in favor here. Playing CT, having a strong T side behind them, and obviously being ahead 2 rounds now. Moving into round number 21.
Okay, and we have Marklo with an AWP now.
Also, Snyder seems to have this kind of foam. He could be the Foster beer I'm drinking as well, but I think that is the case. Apologize for any inconvenience, guys. Anyway, kind of a standard round coming in, but I do anticipate some kind of upper flash attack incoming from Pronax and fnatic any second. You see they're gathering. They're waiting for the smokes to disappear. Opening the door, flashbangs are coming in. The attack is striking. Frags are being exchanged. Kasha taking down Snyder and Devil Walk. Flasha tries to counter, but Adrian's too strong on the blue
This is why I said that the Astana players were on course to win the map, even though they only got 7 rounds on T side. Because you can see that when it comes to just pure skill, like a bunch of the Astana players are like a little bit ahead of the flag. Now, obviously, the fnatic players are in a different scenario. They're online. They're having to play online. They're not playing from home, so that might be a disadvantage. But I think you can see that, like, when they only have to worry about aiming, we saw on the CT side of Inferno, like, the Astana players could outskill the fnatic players in that scenario.
Yeah, you're probably right there. See some crazy spray action from Adrian and Dozia. And I wonder if the bomb actually went down in the vents. Yes,
It's
no,
in the
they
lobby.
didn't. Yeah. But it very much looks like we're moving into a third map here, Duncan. Which again, people on the stream, it's gonna be Mirage.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the neutral map here. No one has picked it.
Well, the funny thing is, most people don't want to play it against Fnatic because everyone tells me Fnatic is like the best at it at the moment. And so it's interesting to me that the guys from Astana, who themselves used to be really good on it back in the old days when they had Edward, that was the old version, obviously, would want to play it against them when potentially it could be their best map. But then again, as I've learned, people from Eastern Europe have an interesting way of thinking about the game, and they don't necessarily care what your best map is. If they want to play it, then they'll play it, okay?
True. A hint of desperation in the Fnatic players right now. They are rushing yard without any set targets.
Full health,
They
a bunch of nades, 3v3. This is still very winnable with a whole minute left. There's no reason to panic and rush in.
I have to say though, it was quite of a weird opener of that round, but Devil Walker and Snyder are obviously able to equalize, and even more than that, taking down Kusher as well, putting Dorsia and Adrian from what was a 4-on-3 situation into a 3-on-2 situation in favor of Fnatic, who are now not taking any weird decisions. They're sticking together, cleaning the areas with the vacuum cleaner. No, with AKs. Moving towards the ramp, where I think Dorsia is waiting and lurking, and Adrian is getting a lot of information right now. And he should anticipate this fake. Seeing a lot of grenades without any action. Failing to take down JW, I think that is the round. That's the kills, obviously, that's gonna take the round. But if he didn't go down there, Dorsia would have like put himself in a fucking good position and not losing that round. Because I think Fnatic's intention was to go bomb spot B at that point. Kind of a signature calling style.
I mean, we saw all the rounds that Astana won on T side was just one or two players, Markov or Adrian or whoever, just going ham, killing everyone with an AK in one round in a way that you couldn't predict. Whereas the Fnatic players, in general, at least have won their T-side rounds by actually like doing tactics. So again, it actually is the classic matchup I described at the beginning. It's like tactical style versus individual style. At the moment, individual style is winning on this map, but it didn't on the other map.
True. Anyway, great Counter-Strike action here from London. We have weapon round after weapon round. Not too many ecos now moving in late game. Round number 24. Are we going to see this SK boost? A failed SK boost. And I wonder who is the scapegoat of that mistake from Fnatic. But anyway, it's an open round. It's 5-on-5.
I think famously they used to have Fisker do that because he was like famously good at doing the jumping. He also used to go on that first person to go on that red rock. The other one, you can go right along the back one. Nuke can look along. That got banned eventually because of that.
And add Snyder to that mix. They also try to hit each other, like team kill each other up to
to jump up,
to elevate themselves on Cobble, for example. CPL 2005, I believe.
It's because it was really hard to do that jump onto that rock.
It was quite hard.
Okay, 4v4 here. What a messy round, but Dren does get the kill. And just like that, it's actually getting very easy for the Astana guys.
One after one, just dropping down. They are not utilizing the advantage being 2-on-1 in that situation. They're just dying one by one. Like flies. Snyder left alone. In my opinion, he should save here. It's the only option he has, really. And I think Kusher took the wrong direction. He's not going to find Snyder. Who is able to save his weapon, his armor, helmet, and a bunch of grenades. And quickly looking at the financial situation, I do anticipate Fnatic to do somewhat of a full buy here. They don't want to allow Astana to reach 15 rounds, which is also map points.
The way it's going at the moment, it's almost certain Astana will win the map, though. It's going to be so difficult to not only deny them getting even one more round, but to win out in this sort of a scenario, it's very, very hard.
And you also see they're rushing right now, and Dorsia has a teammate next to him already. That teammate was supposed to go up yard to protect that area. But it seems to be hold that thought, though, because it seems like it was a fake rush. But they're not benefiting from the fake at all.
No. Especially because they've given so much time that it becomes obvious it's a fake. I mean, they can't actually know that Dorsia and Sarah are going to stay in position like this, but another team would just immediately rotate back, or one man would go back.
But looking at the grenade count, I think we have a total of 9 grenades in each team. Right, 9 grenades in each team. So a late attack from Fnatic is still possible. Obviously, JW is low on health.
They're down to 2.
We're running this streaming laptop on, or the laptop we're watching on the wireless, so we lost some action here for you guys. Sorry about that. 2-3 situation in favor of Astana.
No,
Dosia cannot lose
Dosia is
this.
going to just do the classic Dosia here.
And he waits.
Yep, this is what he does. He waits for the other guy to show, because he's also listening to what Angel's telling him. And that's actually, he did it correctly.
He did.
They got all the information they needed. They made it so that in every scenario, they were always going to have an extra man. Now, they could have done it wrong there, obviously. Like, they could have...
If everybody did the same, that would be wrong, obviously.
No, but yeah, in that one scenario, it was actually, you could tell it was correct, because he didn't just stop to bait his teammates. He stopped because the guy going in the front door told him, like, wait a minute, don't go yet. Because they don't want him to die there, and then the guy who's inside the hut can then have free reign to fuck with you all he wants at the door and come around.
Totally.
You know how annoying that is.
But that's the thing, though, like, in the heat of the battle, his teammates, are they able to recognize actually a teammate that is alive? Because, you know, Nuke, upper bone spot especially, it's a lot of action happening at the same time. It's very hard to know who is your teammate that is still alive. And those are having such a passive game style, you kind of need to know that he's still around, so you are the initiator of the attack.
The Astana guys have done an amazing job at this upper site of always trading at least even, if not killing everyone. Like, in general, none of the upper attacks worked at all.
I think the bomb has barely been planted for Fnatic there.
And what's funny about this so far is, Astana was the one who picked Inferno, and they lost Inferno.
A bit like mobile games, I guess.
Because that way, you don't want to... The reason why teams haven't, organizations haven't thought to do the 2 bans is because they would do the 2 bans first. And if you did that, I'd just ban your 2 best maps, and we have a shit series with 3 maps we don't care about anyway. We're live now in theory, so...
Live when it comes to knife rounds, certainly. Speaking about, to comment anything about the knife round on Mirage, obviously the most teams are picking CT when they have the chance, but it's not a big deal. It's not as big deal on Train as it is on Train, for example. And sometimes you may even gamble if you have a solid T pissed around you that you pick T, no matter what.
Yeah, actually, one of the funny things is, though, even though I said, like, Cash was one of the maps that favored some of the teams who could beat NiP, NiP was one of the teams where they were actually quite beatable on Mirage. They'd lost a bunch of key games. So the fact that no one plays Mirage now actually favors NiP a bit as well. So I actually think that's what's funny, is that going into DreamHack Winter, I think that's one of the reasons why NiP, like, quickly got back to the very top again. They weren't, like, in position where they were always going to lose the very games. I think the map pool shifted it enough that when it's that close a matchup between the 2 best teams, that's when that can be enough to change it. You know, think about in 2011 when they brought in Mirage and they brought in Forge. Instantly,
when the tournaments were more like community-driven and not...
But before, we knew every map as to who's going to win this one, who's going to win that one. But adding in those 2, it changed, like, the dynamic of who won tournaments almost, you know.
And what basically happened was that Vol kind of put down the foot, as far as I'm concerned at least. They wanted their own maps to be played in the map pool. And that was a requirement from them going into DreamHack Winter and supporting that tournament. And I can imagine it's going to be the same for EMS. It is the same for EMS.
The problem is they have the logic of, like, well, we wanted the maps that everyone plays on public servers.
Makes sense, but
yeah,
how hard is it to implement other maps?
I'd rather do, like, a mix. So, for example, if there is a Valve map, I'm not entirely sure of this. I don't think there is, though. Say there's one Valve map that was better. Okay, let's have that one, but then let's have the other ones that are better. Or how about just change your maps to what the versions of this special are, and then you solve the problem there, you know. But it's Valve.
What do we know? Pistol round is happening. Markov taking the first frag on flash out. We have Ace becoming a nice frag from JW when he's kind of defending back here on side halls. A grenade kill from Devilwalk. This is a 4-on-3 situation. Snyder picks up a frag on Adrian. And Angel is dancing around the bullets, eventually goes down to Pronex, 3-on-1. It is possible though, look at the health, and who else but Dosia?
He's a very good pistol player, but he didn't have a chance there.
He didn't have a chance. Important pistol round, important momentum boost for Fnatic.
Dosia is like one of the most extreme examples I've ever seen of that style of play.
As in being the last guy in the battle?
He will just never take the gamble. Like, remember the famous round that Flusher won against NiP in the DreamHack final, where he was in this 2v3, and he gambled by aggressively pushing in so he could get these 2 kills? That was the only chance for him to win that round. Someone like Dosia will never take that chance. He'll always try and take a 1v1 after a 1v1 after one. And what he doesn't realize is
Are you sure about that? Isn't that more like when he's CT? He doesn't gamble when he's CT, but T, he has to gamble eventually.
No, not that often. He's one of those players where he thinks he can always get the 1v1, whereas he doesn't realize when some teams who are good in the 2v1 or 3v1 will never let it be a 1v1. So that's actually, I think,
so his kind of way of playing kind of applies on the CIS game style, where people like randomly can go in by themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas you play Getter and Force, they will come in together and kill you.
It even sometimes works because other players aren't used to someone doing that. And so even though they're on the 3v1, they get a bit hasty and they push in and they, I want to check where he is, you know.
Right.
That's the thing, and that slow style of play does frustrate people, even if it doesn't always work that much. So the fact that it frustrates you actually makes it work a little bit more than it should, you know. Should in like inverted commas, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
And as usual, we always have the buy on the second round of some weapons by Astana.
Yeah, but considering the price for it, I think it makes sense.
I don't think it's as bad because of the way that you eco a CT side anyway.
Yes.
Because you are going to eco the 2 anyway, so they're gambling that if you just get a couple of kills, it gets close to worth it. And then 1 in 15 rounds, they do actually kill everyone and get their gun back and say, hey, it's totally worth it, dudes, let's do it again.
That is what kind of differentiates good teams to bad teams, good players to bad players. You know, sometimes people are, what works on practice works in real games. So they're playing like, let's say 5 practice games going into tournament and like going aggressive on one spot. It works all the time. This is what you do all the time in forever and never. And they end up in forever and ever, of course. And they end up in the tournament and they lose the first 4th round doing that move. And they're like, what is going on? I think we saw a pause there. I'm not sure if we are on the pause right now.
Well, plus what's funny is people only accept that style of play because it's so famous in the CIS region. If you were playing, like, if MTW, the Danish team, was playing Fnatic, the Swedish team, back in the day, and you were playing your, like, 5 maps we're going to play tonight, and they kept doing that every single round, buying full deagles on every save, and then every now and then they win a round, eventually you'd be like, okay, we're not going to play you if you don't play seriously. Like, we're here to practice. We're trying to practice for this tournament. People would be like that. They'd, like, ban you from the practice channel.
Yeah. Frack time. You're out.
True. Because they'd be like, we're trying to play how we're really going to play in the tournament here, guys. But because the Russian players actually do it in tournaments, we have to let them get away with it, you know. And it's not incorrect. It's not that it's bad. I just think I always go with the numbers. Like, I always want to have the highest round chance in the long run.
Right.
But their approach is different. They're just trying to win this one map in an unusual way, you know. So it's like the absolute opposite approach, but it can work also. It's just not as much.
So they can use your help converting this. Is it something that makes sense for players?
I once had an offer from a team from Eastern Europe, a famous team. I won't reveal them now.
Why?
To be the because it's secret, dude. They didn't allow me I'm a journalist.
You asked for too much money, yeah?
No, I was gonna do it for free. They wanted me to be like their tactician or whatever and like do the tactics and the anti-strats for them.
Can I ask you this though, just to get a time frame to this? Was this before or after podcast?
It was in CSGO and it was in 1.6. So it was the end of 1.6 and it was in CSGO as well.
Okay.
It's because they saw me do casting, okay? So they thought like I had a good grasp on who did what in what rounds and stuff. The only problem is I said like there was no point me doing it because I think like 1 or 2 of their players wanted me to do it, but I think the others didn't. And so that, you know, it's like an in-game lead. It doesn't work if like 3 people don't really want to do something, because even if they do it that 1 round, okay, then the next round it doesn't work. They're like, oh, that doesn't work, we're not doing it. So like, it would have been such a waste of effort. So I was just like, no, I think you guys should just stick with your own style.
So team from East Europe, basically.
I'm not going to tell you any more than that. You're not going to get out of me,
Cannot be too many. Well, I'm going to get you a few drinks later. Okay, I'm going to get it off you from off stream. Anyway, moving on here, we have Anti-Eco from Dosia and Astana Dragons. I wonder if the bomb actually went off there before he went down, which should have given Fnatic another $300.
Yeah, and so far only 3 kills after 3 rounds for the Astana players. And remember, they've been buying weapons. And now, of course, CT, you just go immediately for that AWP, so that if you lose this round and that AWP, you're fucked completely. But that's the style. In a way, I kind of like it, okay? Because especially as it provides interesting and exciting matches, because the times it works through this really aggressive style of even buying weapons that are aggressive, it makes it very exciting.
True.
Whereas often it's by the numbers in the other games. Okay, they're going to lose this round. Probably not going to win this unless they get this advantage. You never quite know, though, when you watch.
You never know what to expect.
Oh. And look, it's worked. They're actually decimating Fnatic right now.
You're really building your case now. You're fucking lucky that it worked this time around. Okay.
No, I was like, yeah.
3-0 Fnatic.
This is so exciting, man. Yeah.
And left is Pronex from Fnatic in a tricky 1-4 situation.
And I think Astana's going to win this round.
Great.
You know, every time I see Pronex, right, he doesn't ever speak to me. I don't know if he's like a bit intimidated by me or something.
I think people generally are.
Talk mad shit on him. And so
besides this East
all
European
he does
team.
is just smile
He
But he
smiles.
looks so cute when he smiles. It brightens my day a bit, and I almost stopped talking shit, but then I just immediately go into it like, I remember when you used to have Modi on your team, I just go into my usual shit, yeah.
That's like when I met you in the train station. That's the stuff you can open our talk with. Like, you remember, Patrick, when you had Modi in the team? What about that? Okay, relax now, Duncan.
No, I even use the same trash talk on Pronax that I use on you, which is like, I remember those really good tactics you had when you were in MYM with Modi. It was like, okay, Modi, go into bomb site B and kill everyone. I think cArn used to have some similar ones with Forrest, but when you get other players, it doesn't really work that same strategy, does it? Like, just go in the site and kill everyone. You've heard it before, cArn.
I heard it many times, and actually, it amuses me. And sometimes you make sense, but sometimes not so much. Either way, we have round number 5 coming up here. Speaking about Pronax quickly, though, don't you think he has elevated fnatic's game now? When he joined?
Sure, because if you look before, the other 4 players played very similar style, okay, but they could never get beyond their skills. All they could do was like try and match people skill-wise, and that was about it. And actually, when they had Modi, they kind of fucked things up, because they had certain people in the wrong position. Like, from what I remember, I think they had like Flusher and Schneider at opposite positions, where Schneider was the one left in clutch situations and Flusher was doing more like entry fragging and stuff. So they had people all in the wrong place. And what Pronax did is he came in the team and he realized that I only have 9 days before this tournament, so I can't put a load of strats in. Instead, I'll just put people in the positions I think they should be in, and doing that set the team to be good again, because now everyone's doing the ideal job, which is like one of the roles of an in-game leader.
Totally.
At the moment, it's just complete domination, lockdown from the Astana players. Though we saw this on both maps so far. Every time they're on CT side, really heavy lockdown, not many bombs going down. Bomb goes down this time. And they actually seem to always outskill just in terms of the fewer man-for-man killing.
Gonna bring up Tab here and look at the money situation when this bomb is defused. I am anticipating Fnatic to be able to afford another round. Right now on, averaging around $6,000. Round number 6 is gonna be another weapon round. We have seen 3 in a row right now. Make that 2 in a row.
And
both of them going to Ukraine.
Every T-half, Fnatic starts off well. I think they win every pistol round even. They start off with the first few rounds, and then Astana get into their standard rounds where they just have all their Colts and all their guns. They spray everyone down.
So it's kind of the opposite from what we normally saw from CS teams historically. If they didn't get the pistol
they would
rounds.
be front runners, yeah. But part of that also was that you were punished so heavily for bad money management in 1.6 that you were taking big gun rounds away from yourself. So actually, unless you got that front running aspect, you weren't going to come back. Because think of the teams who come back. It's like MTW, who is like perfect in money control. They never buy Deagles as CT. If they even buy one gun, they have a purpose for it, like an existence type move. Like, we're going to do this set thing on the CT side.
And then we have these extreme cases like attacks at one point. They have losing CT pistol on Dust 2. They did 3 full ecos.
Yeah.
Didn't make much sense though. No, it's no confidence in that game style though. Mr. Moon. Anyway, moving on. 4-on-4 situation here. Kusher takes down Pronax. Kusher is probably the way you pronounce him. Devilwalk trying to find opponents. CT base and the connector is smoked right now, which enables Fnatic to plant the bomb. 35 seconds on the clock. Flasha takes down Adrian and takes down Dosia. Nice headshots. Kusher and Adrian is coming in.
Look how aggressive this AWPing is.
It's his only choice at this point.
No, he has to, obviously.
Yeah,
the problem is,
choice.
In theory, Devilwalk can win this round for certain.
But then again, it doesn't really favor him having AWP when he's down against 2 AKs with low health. He should have picked up a Colt at that point. Anyway, 4th round.
Well, I imagine if he maybe missed that shot, that's when he decides to save.
Perhaps. But from what we're seeing today, not too many rounds, obviously, but they haven't been saved any.
But actually, I think he's one of the few players who might do that. Him and Angel are the 2 who I think are the most likely to possibly save in that scenario. Okay, opening kill. 1 for 1.
Quick B push is coming in here. May actually call.
And they've caught the site completely unawares. Everyone was rotated to A. Or rather, the connector area to A.
Oh, and he takes the shot. Looked like it was from through the box at the one
Schneider
point.
gives his position away completely, but he is going to get a nade off. Markov on 7 health, but gets the kill anyway with no health taken. And now
Pronax is late to the party.
Situation. He obviously, this is unwinnable for him, unfortunately, right now.
Great round from Kusher. I think he had a triple kill in that round. Kind of a random round for Fnatic. a risky round. Sometimes pays
Well,
off.
this is the thing we've also seen. They've had that problem where when they lose T rounds in this game, they get more like passive and they get slower and they don't attack very fast and they don't react very quickly. They do that base where you go everywhere on the map.
Yeah.
And then when your guy dies early, it's like, well, what do we do now? And we've seen the same thing you pointed out on the first map, Inferno, actually, that they'll do that sort of a round where the base breaks, but they do the round anyway. But the problem is, since the Russian players aren't heavily rotating players backwards and forwards, you haven't actually gained a benefit from that. You'd have been better off just doing the obvious reaction, which is to go to the other side where the main amount of men are.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing at the moment that fnatic can do to get bombs down, it seems.
Well, they managed to
was
in this block
obviously
eco
anyway, but in general, we've just seen like dominating CT players. As soon as they get to that fourth round, as soon as they get the proper rifles.
Kind of to talk a bit more about the round, not this round, the round we saw before here. Fnatic winning a weapon round, going into another round, which if they win that, they're going to force Astana into an eco round. They take the decision to go bomb spot B. If they get the kill and bomb plant there, the 4 Astana players, they will actually save at that point, right? So they are not going to force them into an eco at that point.
No.
They should go, in my opinion, they should go for like a standard round, open round, get as many frags as they can to control the money going into mid-game.
Look at this kill here. That was the position where you should never get that kill if you're an AWPer, because the shot he had to take, he had to like move backwards and like zoom out and then take the shot, and he got the kill anyway onto Schneider. And look at this. At the moment, the Fnatic guys just can seemingly do almost nothing with their rifles.
You have to give it to Angel here. The pistol actually showed
looks really shaken to me on these T sides. Like they have that scenario where when you can't get in and you can't plant the bomb, you almost start just like, yeah, you keep rushing in because the in-game leader tells you to, but you have no confidence that you're going to get the kill. Who's going to get the entry frag? Who's going to do this? You know, it's not happening for them.
Pronax again, left by himself.
And he's had a really bad series so far, actually, Pronax. I've seen him bottom of the scoreboard nearly every game.
In-game leaders.
Well, he's a classic example of an in-game leader. Him and Threat are two of the best examples of where they literally had to be good enough at tactics to make up for the fact that they were never going to be mad fraggers, you know. They were never going to be high on the scoreboard. Like, in theory, you could have called loose strategies and sometimes have a good game and be, like, second or third on the scoreboard. That was not going to happen
on a lucky day,
you know.
Yeah.
Whereas, for example, Ave didn't have Superman skills, but he would use his killing within the tactic. Like, he'd go, oh, I'm going to get, like, the fourth guy here when I come in the round.
Compared to many other in-game leaders, he was also the most aggressive one.
Oh, yeah,
how many rounds at CT didn't I just see him, like, rushing down, trying to get a kill, and just sitting there looking at his teammates?
Like,
so
I always
has
say,
this.
For me, the best ever in-game leader at, like, actually killing has to be Gob B. Because he was, like, actually, he could have been a star player on his own if he didn't do in-game leading. But he would, like I was describing with Ave, where, like, he get in-game leads to allow himself to kill as well. He would, like, do it because he was such a good fragger. He would, like, purposely take, like, oh, they're rotating here as CT, so I'll go there and kill them because he was a really good rifler, you know. It was an interesting style to play against because no one else did that.
But also you have to understand that Gob probably put himself in this situation. And I'm not saying he shouldn't, but he thought that his skill of taking a kill, the odds for getting a kill made sense. I mean, it made sense to be aggressive.
Because he was a good fragger, so he would, like, kind of take that responsibility on himself.
I mean, obviously not taking anything away from me at all. I mean, I was saying...
so now we're finally in a good position for Fnatic on a gun round here. 4v3, they get the bomb down, and one guy has an orb, Kusha, but Kusha's been hitting nuts shots so far. Now they're 4v2.
Goes down. Is this going to be the time where
this is the time they're going to finally save, yeah.
It is happening, guys. What I would like to see from Fnatic at this point, quickly looking at the start money. Sorry, not the start money, but the money situation. Fnatic shouldn't go for the rifles now. Losing Pronax is a silly mistake. Getting Kusher obviously evens it out a bit. But overall, Fnatic needs money more than
And they lose both players
Astana
in the end. What a stupid round. Because at the end, you tried to save the AWP to save that money. You didn't get any exit kills. Well, I think you got one or something. And then you tried to save out, and in the end, you died pretty much after the bomb just started to blow up.
It was bad, but I still disagree with the decision maker from Fnatic to run after their weapons. But looking at the weapons...
I would have just saved, but it ended up working out for them.
It did, certainly.
The thing is, it feels like Astana have been all over this game because they've been owning every CT's half. This is the importance of winning pistol rounds, though, because Fnatic are right back in it after one gun round win. Look how aggressive Markov is here. They know exactly where these guys are.
And what's going to be interesting to see now if, yeah,
Notice how
JW
they
and his team take
completely
over
now
Bones
abandon the
A.
B site. They know it can't be a slow B because they had that guy looking up there to see if he went in the tunnels area.
The thing
is
is
actually really bad for Fnatic right now because they're going to be very fast to come in.
Yeah, but they are in a 3-on-2 situation. Snyder has an excellent position here, late game, late round. Bomb is planted, 30 seconds on the clock, 2-on-2.
Yeah, the problem was he got taken out of the round though by looking there. Now they're okay now because it's the open, so again he's going to have to save.
So what we saw here, just to break it down quickly for you guys, we saw Astana being super aggressive in the middle. Fnatic, upon this, reacted in a way they just rushed bomb spot A, and they depended so much. They relied on JW's AWP. Somehow, a miracle, I would call it. He managed to get 2 entry frags. So how is that even possible?
That's actually what I was calling for them need to do, which is when they're in the initial scenario, because every time they push in and peek the first guy, it tends to go with like a trade, like 1-for-1 or 1-for-2 or whatever, and Astana's playing aggressively. Once you realize where Astana's playing aggressively, to me, the only strategy at the moment, since they're out-skilling you, is to rush the other side. Because you know the 3 guys are at A,
True.
B rather, right? Rush A then as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Especially as Astana haven't been like super good at after plan. They win all their CT rounds by killing you before you plan.
But the thing is, like Tactics 101, you need to run with your weapon up.
It's always a trade somehow initially. They never can get the entry and then secure that and then go in on it, you know. And by the way, another thing you could pick up if you're Fnatic is try and always go to the opposite site as Kusha, since he's the one player who apparently will save the op every time.
So we do have Devilwalk left by himself, well health.
Pretty unwinnable situation now, though.
Very much so. The definition of it, actually.
So yeah, so like a nice little run for Fnatic, but it's over, and now Astana in position to take 8, possibly 9 rounds. We'll see. Looking like possibly 9 from the way it is right now, because this is like, if Fnatic don't win this, they're definitely going to be saving next.
I would love to just be able to sit there and say if this is like a good half for Astana or Fnatic. It's very open still.
It's very hard to tell at the moment, especially because the Astana guys haven't been that good on T sides. They did quite well. They did decently well on the T side, but of a nuke rather. But on Inferno, they were actually pretty lackluster. And so I can't have like supreme confidence that they're going to win this game after this half. It's very much.
It's obviously a different kind of game. You have to play as T on Mirage compared to Nuke though. It's less flash-oriented, I would say. It's more like smoke and go all in and rely on your aim. Whereas Nuke is a lot about communication, identifying where your opponents are hiding, and just eliminate them during these A pushes. 5-on-5 situation it is. Round number 14, first half between Fnatic. 1-1 is the score in maps in this semi-final of Counter-Strike Forever London. And IP is obviously waiting in the grand final, starting as soon as this map is over. So we're obviously sitting here to determine who is going to be a worthy opponent to NIP. 35 seconds on the clock. Fnatic is slowly moving towards bomb spot A. Quickly looking at the minimap, we realize that Astana know everything at this point. It's just a matter of can they hold this back. Seems like they can. Marked off Adrian takes out 2 frags, 3 frags. Pronax try to react to that. Get a bit flasher. Not much to do at this point. 12 seconds to go. Angel is already behind them. A really poor round from Fnatic.
Well, you can see that they're struggling for what do they do. They haven't had one tactic they could go to all half that worked. And so they've just gone between this to that to this to guess I'll try this now. And then something works, but then why did that work? Not any set reasons, so you can't repeat it. And also,
they were forced into
guys
something.
have played really well on CT sides. And so, in general, just like lockdown from them. I mean, if they'd have won the pistol round, this would be like really dominating right now. It's only a close game because Fnatic got the pistol.
We're going to see frags exchanged any second. Dosia taking out Pronax. Now you better hurry up, Snyder. They know where you are.
And this is so demoralizing when on the last round you all have pistols. Because you feel like it's such a waste, you know. And no one could afford any gun whatsoever.
I know that feeling very well. And so does JW. JW obviously taking down Angel, but he's going to go down any second there.
Okay, cArn, so you told me you couldn't tell what type of game this was, where Astana going to win, where Fnatic going to win. If Fnatic lose this next half, they're out of their tournament.
True.
Like, how close do you think it is? Whose favor is it in?
I'm going to give you the boring answer, and I think the team that's going to win the pistol round is going to win this battle. And that is a coin toss, so it's very open. That's all I can say, really. But But I wonder if it goes really late
Fnatic
game.
have guessed correctly, and they have 3 people over at B at the moment.
And also
look
the
at
2
positions.
rotators, yeah.
They have it totally ready for a B attack, basically.
Nice
so
try
this
from
is actually probably
Devil.
going to go really well for them, just because of how fast that rotation man into the house is.
At this point, they can't lose.
Unless there's some insane headshots on it. But just based on the numbers, it should be impossible, yeah. So that was a pure gamble as well. They had no information to know that. But I don't know if that's from scrims or what, but that was like a very good guess. And that's given them hope now, because again, if Astana win that, then take the ecos, they're halfway there.
And I can assure you, without seeing the grenades they purchased during the pistol round, but I believe Pronex probably had a smoke grenade and a kit in case it was a plant on A. What they're gonna do at that point, just try to smoke and flash everything and go for a quick defuse, because that's the only chance to win such a retake. So a pure gamble, but I don't have the statistic between the decision of going B or A on pistol rounds, but made sense still. And this time around, it really paid off. And so does JW's aggression here in the balcony. Eventually goes down to Angel, picking up an important frag on JW. The score is 9-8 in favor of ASD. So tell me, Duncan, being a journalist and all that, do you have any insight into the story and the reasons for ASD to leave Astana Dragons?
The strange thing was they tried to phrase it in their statement as though they left the organization and that they were unhappy with
I
the
share that
circumstances,
observation as well.
Which is strange because what I'd heard about Astana was it was one of these scenarios where some rich dude in Russia has a shit ton of money and he wants to pay you to live in an awesome house and give you everything you need. So unless it turned out that was a bit shady and there wasn't enough money there, it seems curious to me that they'd leave because it's not like they found an organization now and they had someone to go to. So I suspect it was like maybe half and half. Like maybe the organization were like, your results.
Or maybe they had an offer on the table that someone eventually withdrew from.
But I mean, it's suspicious also that they leave in their worst period of shit results of doing really, really badly as well.
What's even more weird, keeping the tag. What's up with that?
I think they just did that because what else are they going to call themselves?
I guess the likelihood of being invited and having a higher seed, keeping that name, makes sense.
Maybe. I mean, they did get the invite to the EMS Katowice because they finished top 8 at DreamHack.
They did, yes.
So even without, I mean, that's strange in itself. Are they really going to pay their own way there? I wonder about that sort of thing, you know.
We are seeing a sniper rifle in the hands of Devilwalk. Interesting. Aggression coming in from Fnatic, featuring JW and Pronex, taking down 3 kills totally.
Yeah, very easy at the moment for Fnatic. Oh, Andy hit him as well.
I think he's using the scout, isn't he? Sometimes it's hard to see. We don't have any sound there.
He hit him when he did the jumping shot. Actually,
yeah, it was a scout. That's the problem with CSGO for me, being a seasoned person, you know. Seeing the differences between the skins when it comes to sniper rifle. It's not that easy, including the pistols sometimes. Do you buy a lot of skins? Or do you ever play CSGO, Duncan?
I played it a little bit recently, but I would never get skins anyway. Like I'm just not that interested in like the aesthetics of any game, you know.
Same here.
That's why I'm surprised it's so popular, you know, because everyone else seems to be loving it, you know.
But I mean, it's been popular in League of Legends and Dota for like 2 years.
I can understand why the pro players do it, because they have to play the fucking game like 6 hours a day anyway, so they want to do something to mix it up or do something a bit different. A bit like, you remember those pro players?
They're trying to find further placebo effects, basically.
Remember those pro players back in the day who'd make like a config where every time they fired a bullet, it would change the crosshair color? Just to keep it interesting, like just stupid stuff.
Another
like
great example is Sevs from Navi. Depending on what angle he was like trying to protect, he changed left and right hand mode. See, like his weapon, like
yeah, okay. I think he overthought that a little bit.
I think so too. 10-9 is score. Nevertheless, Fnatic is in favor right now.
Turn around for Astana at the moment. Could be their first round win.
Picking up 2 frags. Snyder and JW goes down.
Oh, Flusher is right above Dosia now, but does he know?
I think he just made some steps as well, so Astana should anticipate him to be in this position. But he has to gamble. He has to take a kill at this point.
He doesn't know that Dosia is right below him now.
And Dosia is waiting. Not surprising.
Oh, that's what Dosia does. Dosia's favorite movie, the teen comedy hit Waiting, 2005, starring Ryan Reynolds and others.
Classic. 4.5 at IMDb.
It was like a good bad movie though. It was all right.
Really?
I had like Dane cocking it and it's
Is that the kind of movies you're watching?
No, it wasn't very good. I hate movies like that usually, but it was okay.
Great play from Flasha, taking down 2 Astana players, including a nice wallbang on Kusher. Angel left alone with 8 health. This is a round they kind of need, right? Moving into the next round, they would be forcing into an eco otherwise. Pronax does nothing wrong there. Picking up another AK. Securing the 11th round for Fnatic.
It looks quite weird in CSGO as well, the way the models don't like just die on the floor and disappear. Like that guy was sort of like kneeling on one knee, like lying against the thing, like, I just need to rest now. Sleep.
And
sleep.
It adds another, well, it adds a kind of random element to the game. So sometimes you
sometimes you see a body and you're
and
like,
you
oh
think
shit,
he's still alive.
I mean, I'm sure pros don't do that. We just do that because we're
I do it a lot, man.
I mean, look how much damage Astana's taken already before they even got to see anyone. Just from nades.
They have a great mix between helmet and non-helmets. Adrian and Angel's already
so
down.
So far, Fnatic doing even better than Astana was at just locking down completely CT sides. And again, Astana, apparently, they can't hear me, I guess, so they're not stream cheating. They are never going to do aggressive, fast rounds. They're never going to do split pushes.
Seems like it.
I'm not implying because they're Russian.
It's like
an
anchor. How do you do it?
Yeah,
it's like fucking Titanic with 2 anchors. It works only for so long, then it goes down. We do have a 5-on-3 situation here, and Fnatic is not taking any gambles at all here. They have 2 guys waiting for Kusher, Markel, and Dosia.
But
slowly
at least when they
approaching
rush
B.
in here, in theory, they actually have a chance.
They have a
with
trade.
This site, they're going to be versus 2 people.
They have the chance for a trade.
And they're in position to get the bomb down. Which itself will be a big move considering they haven't won a round yet.
But when you don't get the entry frag, Duncan, I think it's GG pretty much. Nice kills from Devilwalk, finishing off Kusher and Astana Dragons, moving them up, Fnatic that is, to 12 rounds.
So what do you think about the fact that Devilwalk's documentary came out sooner than your frag movie Into Elysium has come out?
Well, I tell you what, considering
been in production for like 5 years or something.
Well, probably 2 at this point.
But when you said a decade of domination, were you starting the decade?
I needed to wait until it became a decade.
Yeah.
Actually, I started playing CS1 99, so you can start on there.
Yeah, you've almost got the decade.
Actually, I played more than a decade.
Yeah, but domination was a decade of domination.
Yeah, obviously you can look at it many ways.
Until like 2007. So 2017 is when it'll come out.
So my official answer is coming out. We have frag material, because I do have demos dating back to 2001. I'm not sure when you started to follow me. No, well, I don't know. It's people like Damien, Element, whatever.
Your name used to be one of those ones on frag movies that like were popping up in the top right-hand corner of the screen when I was watching good players play.
Was that?
That's when I used to follow you. I used to see your name pop up on the top right-hand corner of the screen in frag movies when really good Swedish players were playing.
I got killed, basically.
Yeah, that's the joke, cArn.
Yeah, I got it eventually after, what is it?
Okay, we've got a gun round now, yeah.
And you might be the most sarcastic person I ever met. Either way,
okay,
frag movies aside and jokes aside, we do have Fnatic up 13-9. And look at this, Duncan. Snyder and I believe, is it Pronax? Yeah, they're protecting the bomb area B quite good right now. Gaining a lot of information. Standard round. Not too surprisingly though, coming in from Astana.
I think how rare it's ever been that we've had this much time pass without someone dying. In these Astana games, someone dies in the first 20 seconds, no matter what, on one of the teams.
And they don't give a fuck.
Just always happens on every half.
Fnatic's rotation is completely off right now, I would say. They could have gained so much more information in bomb spot B. Now it's a 5-on-3 attack. The first frag is super important. Goes to Fnatic. 5-on-4, 5-on-3, 5-on-2.
This is much too easy for Fnatic right now.
they didn't reach that kind of tipping point where one Fnatic player is failing to protect his spot. You can kill him and kill the next guy. And they did everything right, though, until the attack started, because Fnatic was still 2 persons protecting bombs by B. So number-wise, they did have that advantage. A lot of things going on in the bar here behind us at the same time. But yes, we are watching Counter-Strike. We are watching Counter-Strike Forever London. And we do see Fnatic is marching.
You know, in many ways, a bar is like the ideal environment to host and cast a CS tournament from. I never realized it until now.
Yeah. What makes you think that, though?
No, I'm being sarcastic. It's terrible, obviously.
No.
Full of fucking people talking all the time.
I hear they're laughing in the stream now, but I don't know. I think it's great. What's wrong with it?
And half the people in here aren't even watching. They're just like...
I know we're interrupting each other all the time, etc., because there's a lot of noise, but...
Yeah, if Anders was here, he wouldn't even be interrupting anyone. He would just be on point the whole time. Poor Anders, R.I.P. He left us too soon.
Hashtag,
he will be missed.
Hashtag RIP.
Hashtag Year of Anders.
No, but we're talking about gaming environments. Okay, bars.
Oh, Fnatic's actually going to lose their first round of the half.
Seems like it. Yeah, but to follow up the discussion about venues, I think we have different benchmarks when it comes to running events. I mean, having events, playing at events. IEM. Playing at Gamescom, playing at CB, playing at E-Stars. For the player, I mean, it's probably less noise here than it is in Gamescom, for example.
No, actually, to tell everyone a story, in case they're wondering why Anders wasn't casting this event, because Anders is a friend of mine, so he gave me this information secretly, but he told me I could tell everyone. Okay, he was actually going to cast this event, but they were going to pay him $10.
This event.
And then, yeah, last minute he said, like, "Did you have the $10,000 for me?" And then you were like, "Why don't I can't do that?" And he's like, "No, well, we agreed on $10,000." And so in the end, he couldn't do it, but it didn't matter anyway, because it actually turned out that his pet rabbit like stubbed its toe, and so he had to stay off anyway. So he will be missed. He's my favorite caster, and so shout out to my boy Anders.
CL_sarcasm1. CL_troll1. I don't know if you anticipate me to answer that, but okay. Cool story.
There's nothing to say about that.
Moving on, 14-10 Fnatic.
And see,
3-on-3
is gradually turning it around. They're going to have another chance at a round here, but they're going to let the smokes run out, unfortunately. So now I wonder what's happening. Bomb is down. Now what will JW do? Will he wait till the end with the AWP? Will he go in at the same time? Looks like he's going to go in at the same time. Okay, he's going to hold this one angle here.
Trying to hit him through the box. They know he's there, but the more they wait, the bigger chance they're giving to Dosia and his team to win this round. Round number 25. Great positioning for Dosia.
The round right there.
Totally.
So Astana now in with a shout of stealing the game, whereas it looked like, come on, Fnatic's definitely going to get to 16.
But we do have at least 1 or 2 more weapon rounds within Fnatic, considering how many consecutive rounds they won. Putting themselves as 14-11, they're going to be able to continue purchase until like 14-12, 14-13. Then it's going to be really tricky, and the momentum has completely turned around. But for the next 2 rounds, we're going to see full buys.
He's going to do one of those like standard bases where you send both people to both sites, and you just wait.
Get the entry kill here.
But Fnatic's playing more aggressively again, so they want to find out, okay, is there someone here? Now, they're actually going to be in really bad position if that guy keeps looking to the right now.
Oh my God.
That is the worst possible scenario, because Dosia still has 61 health after killing both of those players, and now he knows those were the B site guys.
Wow.
But
crazy headshot on Flash.
It looks like they want to actually still go to B.
That position, though, from Dosia.
I thought
must have heard him. It was an amazing position, but the timing of deciding to stay there.
Fortuitous, yeah. And the other guy, like the first Fnatic guy, was sort of body blocking the other guy from getting in and killing him. And so by the time he came in, the other guy was
the same percentage in winning that duel. It was like 2 different duels, essentially.
But the thing is, they were so worried someone could be below them.
Yeah. I used the word luck, but actually Dosia has played now, 12 rounds as T. He has probably heard. He has created kind of a mental pattern, so he took that decision. He can probably not explain it, but
well,
eventually it made sense.
A few times
they
here,
did,
so
exactly.
He had a notion they could. The thing is, that would be such a crazy position to be in if they hadn't pushed up, because you're just sitting there doing nothing. You're not giving any information. Even the CTs can even go down that ramp without you seeing if they jump over. But it looks like Fnatic's going to get to a game point here, and series point.
I'm not sure if we managed to catch it, but Devilwalk got a jumping headshot with Scout on Dorsia. Speaking about luck, puts Fnatic onto match point, 15-12, round number 28. Money situation is equal
and this
still.
Is the whole series if they win this
This is the whole series. And IP is obviously sitting here waiting for the opponent, getting a bit more insights than these two teams are getting on NIP, because it wasn't much to say about the Team Infused and NIP game, right? It was like a total of
3 rounds.
Yeah, 32, whatever, 32-2 or something like that in total score. Adrian being blind but finding himself in a quite good position here with a lot of health. I don't think they know he's there. JW seems to not know that. He eventually goes down, so chaos is probably the word to use here. Snyder and Flusha utilizes the grenade. Common effort taking down one player from Astana. 3-on-3 situation. Kits is something that Fnatic has. And I think the auto-direct is going a bit crazy on us, unfortunately. But meanwhile, we're trying to use... At
the moment, Flusha's dead body is like in that movie, The Dark Knight Rises. You remember the character that was like Matthew Modine, that guy who like was that cop who just got shot at the end by like Bane's soldiers, and he fell in that weird gay way like that, like with one leg sprawled out.
I've seen the movie, but that reference I cannot... Yeah.
When you watch it again, just remember Matthew Modine's character. That's how he dies.
Okay, so it's now we're supposed to be a bit hyped because Fnatic won eventually 2-1 in map, 16-12 in map score on Mirage, which was the third map. I guess we need to get some rest here because this was a kind of intense series. I did say the team that won the pistol round going to win the series. That did happen, but I felt it was a coin toss, and that was what Mirage essentially was in the end of the day. I mean, you agree on that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the series played out the same way on every map. Astana would start slow, then they'd have a good CT half, and then on T half, in general, they didn't do so well. They did decently on Nuke, but on the other two maps, that was what cost them, was their T halves. They didn't have set strategies. They seemed to just be playing like really passively, and the more aggressive the Fnatic players played as CT, the more it benefited them, and that was the secret to winning the series. It wasn't even a T half game. It was just CT play.
Totally. So now, putting ourselves in the seats of a doctor here and looking at the symptoms, the failings from Astana Dragons, what kind of advice would you give to them? My advice would be to differentiate the timings of their attacks a little bit more. You know, not going too crazy on Dorsia's passive play style. Trying some rushes, trying some pop-up flash attacks, etc. Any other ideas?
They just seemed in general like their idea of what they wanted to do as terrorists wasn't really there. Like they almost looked to me like they were playing a mixed style where you just, like, you know that style that actually the Poles used to be famous for, which is like at the beginning of the round, we all have one place we go to and then we see what happens from there. And then we'll call a tactic. Like, okay, I killed one here, so let's go upper. But until that point, we don't have a strategy. If you play super passive like that, then you never really know, like, for example, if a guy dies, now what do we do? You don't know what the next... That's why tactics are good. It's not always the first tactic. It's like the order of what to do, you know. And they seemed really confused on their T sides because they put themselves in position to win that map there. They had a good enough CT side where it's like, okay...
Oh, totally. 9 rounds.
They also, by the way, had bad pistol rounds, which is surprising because they have really good aimers, but their pistol rounds in general were bad, and the tactics on the T side pistol rounds for Fnatic were pretty good. They would just win them outright.
I mean, from the statistic material we have today, it's 5 maps in total. Hey, Devilwalk. It seems to be, again, hard to just take too many conclusions from what we've seen today, but, you know, spreading out a CT on pistol rounds seems to not be the cure, you know? It seems to sticking together, gambling a little bit, having a smoke, having a kit, going for a quick defuse if you have to retake the other bomb spot. Could be wrong, though. We are not the pros here, but that's what we can say from today.
Well, it's like I said about gambling on CT side. The Astana players just always played default. They were always like, I'm here. Yeah. So in their mind, the only thing that's going to change is either I kill 2 people or
They're
I die
like
or whatever.
A new clan that is being put together and like, okay, I'm going to protect B, you're going to protect middle, I'm going to protect A, and just play that every fucking round. And that seems to be kind of the consensus in their game style at this point. But of course, it's very interesting to see them still. You have to say still, like Fnatic being DreamHack Winter Champions, were able to defeat some of the best teams in the world. Astana is pulling off a decent fight
right,
here.
Yeah.
Surprising good fight, considering it's
how
like
bad
5
their
a.m.
form was
in
before.
Kazakhstan now.
I mean, I'll be interested to see what they change
Exactly.
for EMS Katowice because, like I said, assuming it's still the case, they changed in-game leaders, so that's going to change things. I wonder if that means they'll go back or whether they'll stick with this and they just have some tweaks to make.
Yeah.
But obviously, since they haven't played many events, they're a team that's figuring out what they want to do for Katowice, which is in like only something like.
And you
10
did
days
suggest that
now.
Adrian is probably the in-game leader right now.
That's what it said on the news
Okay.
post, at least.
I guess you guys out there can tweet us about that. And of course, make sure to send your love to FACEIT as well. It's making it possible to run the stream here from Counter-Strike Forever in London. We're going to jump over to Milan, I think, or potentially a commercial break. But we're going to be back with Fnatic versus NIP in a best of 3. Winner takes it all, $1,500. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, great post-match analysis from the guys there. Hope you guys are enjoying the action so far. But the best match is yet to come. NIP versus Fnatic is going to be so awesome. I know it's getting late, but you're going to want to stay up for this. First, of course, we're going to take a quick break so everyone can get the rest that they need, get the refreshments they need. So we'll see you very soon.